Hey guys, how's it going? I'm setting up the room real quick, and then we can get started. So let me just finish setting this up, and then we can start looking for some scalps and stuff. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna send this link out real quick so everyone can join in, and then we can kick off our trading day. So let's see. I think I got everything set up here. Turn on the chat real quick. Settings here. All right, cool. Looks like it's currently loading up right now. There we go. We're done with that. This link here. Dang, this looks like a pretty solid scalp for US 30. I'm actually in the sell already. So I'm gonna hold on to this, and then we'll see how it plays out. I think it'll keep dropping. Anyway, let me finish setting out this link real quick, guys, and then we can I can start getting to these questions. So I'm gonna just post this up over here. Yeah, I just saw your guys' messages in the premium. You guys thought that was the live, but that was just the link that I was responding to for Aga. She was wanting to look at the previous sessions. So let me just type in here real quick. Yeah, let me show you guys this real quick. All right, so I took a sell already for that. I took a higher sell right there. I'm in profit about 1,000. So you can see right here, I'm in profit 1,064, 1,055. So you guys are looking at my account right there. I actually hopped into this earlier when I saw this right here. So I hopped in right here off this entry. I can't remember if it was here or over here. I think it was this one right here, actually. So I hopped into this one right here, and I never closed it because I thought I was going to keep dropping. And there you go. I'm in profit. Damn, I should just close it out. This thing's bouncing around so much. I was in profit 1,000. Now I'm freaking negative 125. Jeez. This is why I don't like to trade out in the open, because you see how it's moving around so much. It's just bouncing too crazy. I was paying attention. I should have just closed it. I was in profit already 1,000. I didn't realize it bounced all the way back up. But it's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's unfortunate. I wasn't paying attention to it, so it ended up bouncing back. So let me just post these links up real quick. And this is why I kind of want to focus on the on my own trades, but it's okay. I should have put a TP. That was my bad too. Because if I put a TP here, I would have hit TP already. Yeah. So that was a mistake on my end. Let me just delete this real quick. Today's the 24th. Yeah, this thing's bouncing around pretty crazy, Sisuk. I was just in that trade, and if you go back and replay if you just rewind the session just a few seconds back, I was in profit 1,000. Now I'm like negative 45. But I mean, that's trading. It's never going to be a smooth ride, but it's all right. I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to keep coming down. Anyways, let me post this link in the last places over here. So that's good. I'm not going to set up the YouTube live today, guys. I'm just too lazy today to set that up. But let me just send these links out, and let me send the Zoom out to you guys too in the premium. So looks good for the most part. And let me get the Zoom link for you guys here in the premium group. Got that sent out in the premium group. Got to send out to the emails. Got to send out to the Facebook. I think that's it. One last place is just the one last place is going to be the Instagram real quick. So let me just get that sent out. Link there. So if you guys have sent me a message on Instagram or sent me an email and I haven't gone back to you, I just haven't gotten to them yet, guys. So just give it some time. I'll probably respond to you guys after this live session, but I haven't looked at anything yet. I'm just going to post this link up to the Instagram real quick and then we should be good. Yeah, today's kind of a lazy day. I mean, I already had a great week so far, so I'm just kind of chilling. I'm not really trading aggressively right now. It's not really necessary. I think my payouts today too, so I need to hold off. I don't even know if I can enter all my trades. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm currently in this trade though, so. All right, so it looks like we're good to go. I'm just gonna mark this up real quick, guys, so that we can see, where everything's at. Let's turn this off. Zoom out from this point. Man, I should have just exited that trade. I knew it was gonna bounce back up like that, but I just wasn't paying attention. Anyways, I'm just gonna draw these resistance and support zones here for rejection points so that we can identify, where everything's going. I think today's going to be a bearish day, honestly, guys. So if you guys are looking at US 30, I think today is definitely going to be a bearish day. I mean, I've been talking about this with David. I'm not sure if David's in here, but we figured it was going to be bearish for like the rest of the week. So it's been bearish actually since Monday. That's right here. And I think it's going to continue to be bearish. There, I think this is just going to keep dropping from this point. So we'll see. I mean, this is a long-term move. Obviously, long-term move is going to be bearish. But I mean, we'll still take scalps in both directions, obviously, because if we get scalps in one direction or the other, I mean, it'll be beneficial to all of us, right? So for example, right here, I took this trade here. I mean, it reached TP, but I didn't put a TP because I was just holding on to it for too long. So like right here, this is the hey David, how's it going, bro? I was just telling them that we were anticipating US 30 to be bearish for the week until Thursday. So I actually took this right here and I didn't put a TP. So I'm still in the trade right now. And there's another entry here. So there's one entry there, another entry right here, I'm assuming for this red one. So technically, I don't know if this hit TP yet. Let's see. Yeah, so this hit TP2 right here as well. So two of these have hit TP, this one right here, and the one right before it actually took the most recent one. But there's two trades here that we're running. And then there's another one right here as well, a third scalp. It's a risky scalp. I wouldn't really recommend taking it yet because of the high volatility. But technically, there's another scalp that's available right here. So just keep that in mind. I mean, there's a scalp that's currently running right now. The previous two right here already hit full TP, but there's one that's currently running right here if you wanted to, hop in the scalp. But this is a risky scalp because volatility is just a little too high right now. So yeah, I mean, if you guys wanted to enter that scalp, feel free. Otherwise, it's a risky scalp. But this would be an entry here. So if you guys are looking to enter the scalp here, you guys can. But take it with caution because it is going to be risky right now with the high volatility as the market just opened. So that's pretty much it for that right there. I'll just set an alert here so that we know if and when it hits. So we got that right there. Let me just, I'm gonna set an actual TP on mine now, so I don't freaking have to worry about it. 31.4. Let's see what the pricing. I think pricing is a little better for FCMO now. So let me just check the pricing real quick. Pricing of FCMO is 31,490 minus 31,500. It's the same. It's only 10 pips. I mean, it's not anything too crazy, but it's still around 10 pips. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is a risky trade, so I don't recommend taking it, but that technically would be a scalp. It's a scalp that I wouldn't take though, because it's right after, it's right on market open. So let me just update this, 31412. Setting a TP, because I'm currently in this position from earlier, but not from this one. I was in on this one over here. Yeah, so I'm actually in on this trade right here. I didn't get a chance to close it because I was starting up this room, but I'm technically in this position right here. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take that trade. See how I mean how it's like it's too risky right now. It's not something that I would take. So let me delete this real quick. Yeah, we're gonna hold off. Don't take any scalps until like 7:30. Until like down here, because we just gotta wait for the market to stabilize a bit before we can take these trades. Because right now, obviously, it's just gonna keep bouncing around. So let's hold off on that right now. Let's see. Shit, I'm on the 15 minutes. Thanks for letting me know, Kirsten. I just realized that I'm on the wrong time frame. Yeah, because I was trailing a trade from yesterday actually. So let me just go ahead and remark my zones real quick. Thanks for mentioning that, Kirsten. I didn't realize that I was on the 15. Usually, like when I'm trailing the stop loss, I use the 15 because it's a little smoother. But yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have been on the 15. So that trade wouldn't have been a valid entry actually. I mean, technically it would if you're trading on the 15, but I don't trade on the 15. So it's not something that I would even bothered to look at. All right. All right, solid. So looking at this here, let me see. I mean, technically there's still an entry there. It's just at a different entry point. So this would have been the entry right there. And you would have entered right here, but still, it still would have been a bad trade. So like I mentioned, guys, we're going to wait off till like about 7:30 right here before we take any trades, because the volatility just keep bouncing back and forth. You don't want to get caught in like any of these whipsaw moves or price just keeps bouncing back and forth, and then it ends up hitting your stop loss before it ends up going to TP, which is probably what's going to happen a lot right now. So other than that, we're just going to wait. See, 7:30. Yeah, we still have about an hour or less than an hour before it reaches, that point. All right, so let me check the chat real quick. Morning, Eric. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Sisuk. Morning, Karen. Morning, Peter. Morning, Emmanuel. Morning, Kushi. Morning, Billy. Morning, Kel. Morning, David. Morning, Jazz. Morning, Braden. Morning, Renee. Morning, Matt. Morning, City. Morning, Kirsten. Morning, John. Morning, Alistair. Morning, Megan. Morning, everybody. So that's see this huge drop, guys. That's what I was talking about. There's just volatility just keeps bouncing back and forth. I think it's going to come down overall. So if you can have a wide stop loss, that's cool. Because I'm currently in this position right now. I entered. Let me see. I entered like around this area right here, and my stop loss was above the zone right here. So I'm just holding on to it. But this is because I entered like way before market open. I entered like at 550. So I'm currently in this position. I'm just hanging on to it. I was supposed to close out down here, but I was setting up this live. So about 10 minutes ago, I missed this TP because I didn't put a TP, and I'm just hanging on to it. But I wouldn't really think about entering anything right now unless you could put a farther stop loss. That'd be okay. But if you're putting your stop loss like below the zone right here, it's kind of dangerous. So I wouldn't enter anything until after, because there's going to be more entries, guys. So don't like feel, you know, forced to enter a trade now, and don't FOMO in, because this is what will probably happen. This will probably swing up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, fuck this, man. All right, I'm closing it. I don't want to mess with it. I just, okay, so I locked in I was at about 1,000 again, but I only locked in 600 off that trade. Or 715. All right. I mean, it's all right. It's not the 1,000 I was looking for like a few seconds ago. It ended up moving too fast, and then I missed it. But here, I'll just show you guys my trade right here. So here's my FTMO. You know, I'm just not like saying I took this trade. I actually did take it, because like right here, there's my profit. So US 30 right here, I took it at 611, 655. So I was holding it for like 40 minutes. I took it 2 lot. I made 715 off that. I mean, I was in profit way more. I was like over 1,000 when it was down here, but I'll take the profit. You know, I don't care. I'll take the 700 profit right now, and then I'll just, you know, I'll just wait for another entry. Because like I mentioned, it's too risky. Even though I think it's going to come down, it is coming down. See, as I speak, even though it's coming down, it's just it was bouncing back and forth so much that I didn't want to risk it. I'm just going to wait for another entry to appear, which will appear eventually, because this is going to have to come back at some point. And then we'll have the rejection off there, and then I could take another sell from there, right? So there's really no need to FOMO in, guys. If you missed the trade, or if you didn't catch these other scalps above here, because this is the actual scalp that was good. So this is the first good scalp right here. If you took that trade right there, obviously it would hit full TP. And then there's no scalps over here aside from this one. So this is technically the scalp right here, but this would have lost if you took it. So I mentioned not to take it because of the crazy volatility right here. We're just waiting for the next one now. Made pretty decent profit off that one. So I'm not, okay, cool. So David and Carter, thanks guys. So you guys also mentioned that the Fed is speaking today. So let me check. The Fed's speaking today in the around 11, I think, right? Yeah. So, or no, not 11. Oh, he's speaking right now. Okay. So guys, I'd be careful not entering any trades right now. The Fed is speaking in about 7 minutes. So, you know, with that said, there's just going to be, there's going to be a lot of volatility. You're going to see this bounce back and forth. That's probably why it's bouncing back and forth right now as we speak, because this, it's just going to bounce too close. Like if your stop loss is too close, for example, so because generally our stop loss is at 500 pips right here, it's just too close. And if it whipsaws back and forth, which is probably going to happen, it's going to just go back and forth, you know, go up, then go down, then go back up, and it's just going to move too fast. So if your stop loss is too tight and you're taking these scalps, you're probably going to get kicked out of the trade before hit your TP. So I wouldn't mess with it, guys. I would just wait until after. So the Fed is speaking right here at 7 o'clock. We're probably not going to really look at anything really seriously until like 8, because they usually talk for about an hour. So, I mean, we'll see where that's at. I'm glad I closed out in profit. Thanks for reminding me, guys. It's been a bad habit for me to not really look at news anymore, since we scalp most of the time. But this is actually something that would be important, you know, with regard to our positions, including US 30. So other than that, let me go back to the chat and see if there's anything else that I missed. One thing real quick, let me just check the Forex pairs to see if there's anything here that we could have looked at or taken. So JPY right here just hit our full TP for 50 pips right there. So if you took our trade here, it actually didn't fill until yesterday. So it was pending for like a good day or two, and then it finally filled, went straight to full TP. So that hit full TP there. Otherwise here, I think everything else is pretty pretty solid. I mean, there's probably an entry here for Euro odd if this ends up closing below, but it's a risky trade. So I'm not sure if it's something that I would want to take. And with the news, it's going to hold up on these Forex pairs anyways. So that's the reason why I didn't call any Forex pairs right now, guys, because I'm just checking these real quick. I didn't call any because we have the Fed speaking shortly. Like I had the idea that the Fed was going to speak in the back of my head, but I didn't realize it was at 7. I thought it was at 11 my time. So this was a call here that I was going to call yesterday. Billy, are you here? So Billy actually he saw this CHF USD CHF pair. So if you took this or you did, Billy, because we talked about it last night. So I kind of fell asleep on you. I saw that you sent the message, but I didn't get a chance to respond to you, Billy. But yeah, Billy took this buy here for USD CHF. You know, the reason for taking this buy is he was applying the K2SR strategy. So what we had here is we had a rejection from this point. We had a buy signal right here. We had a break and close past this structure right here. And Billy was like, hey, Shawn, do you trade USD CHF? And I was like, yeah, of course, it's a major. And I missed it because by the time he took it yesterday, let me see if I could find our chat, Billy. Yeah, so Billy was he was trading it right here. This was his chart. He identified it. And then I showed him my chart right here. And I was like, oh, it's kind of late. I'm not going to enter it because it was already in profit. But yeah, we were talking about this last night. And then he was in the trade. And now it's, you know, it's pushed up quite a bit, about 40 pips. So you should have some nice profit off that, Billy, at this, you know, at this point. But I would be careful. If you're still in this trade, Billy, I would just exit and profit. Because since the Fed is speaking, look at this huge spike right here. I'm glad I closed my position out because I would have been screwed if I held on to it. So yeah, guys, you're going to see a lot of volatility from now until 8 o'clock, maybe until 9 o'clock with the Fed speaking. Because I think yesterday they, when the Fed spoke, you know, price went up because they, I don't know, I saw it on CNBC. Where's it at? See, the Fed, they mentioned something about the economy, and then, you know, obviously US 30 recovered slightly, you know, just it was just market reaction to the news. I don't see it here though. Yeah, I don't really see anything here right now, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see how everything moves after the announcements happen. But look at this huge spike. See these big wicks right here? This is just, it just indicates uncertainty in the market. This huge candle right here has like no body and a small wick, and it wicked about 1,250 pips. So it's I mean, it's gonna be bouncing back and forth. So if you guys are here, in the Zoom, I'm not really looking at the chat. Okay, good. You guys haven't put anything in the chat this time. Just put stuff on the YouTube so I can answer your questions. But anyways, let me go over here real quick and see what we've got for these other indices. So I'm not sure if anyone took these indices trades last night, but let's just see if there was any possible entries over here. So for odd US, it was the Aussie 200. If you were trading this last night, it doesn't look like there's very many entries here. Let me just close that off. Yeah, not really. I mean, there's an entry right here. Let me just mark this up right here. So we got this right there. There's actually, so the first entry would have been, actually, there's a lot of entries here. Here, let me just go and extend this up a little bit. Yeah, there's a couple entries here, it looks like, for the Aussie 200. I know some of you guys like to trade this. I don't personally trade it, but it looks like there was, I guess, an entry right here off this green one. Either of these green ones it looks like there was an entry. So if you took that, I guess this would technically be active. I think the sweet spot for this was like 150 or 100. So the most recent entry would be that green candle right there. And then again, this red one, but this would technically still be active. So this would be in profit right now, moving to a TP for the China 50 over here. Let me see if there's anything here for you guys. So let's go down the indices and I'll see if there was any entries here that were available for you guys, you know, the most recent entry, just in case you guys wanted to, you know, confirm if your position was valid or not. So I think this would be the only zone because this zone isn't connected to anything. So with that said, if I turn this off right here, looks like this, actually there's no entry here. So no entry here for the China 50, for the Spain 35. I know some of you guys trade this. I personally don't trade it, but I'll just see if there's any entries here. Yeah, it looks like the most recent entry would have been this red candle right here, but it doesn't look like it would have hit yet. So let me just turn this off. Yeah, the most recent scalp for this one would have been this one right here. So I don't know what the sweet spot would be. It'd probably be around 50, I'm assuming. I think 20 just seems too close. 50 points. So this would technically still be active right here. Let me see what the sweet spot was for this one over here, because this would be the most recent entry over here as well. So this was the most recent entry, and this would be the one prior to that. So if this was taken, yeah, about 50. So this would still technically be active right now for the Spain 35. The French 40 over here, this would be around, or France 40. I don't know what you guys call it, but let me just mark this up over here. So we've got an upper zone above here. And then we've got this zone right here. So just looking at this here, let me see if there's any entries that were available most recently. So the most recent one would be this one right here. This green one, which would technically be active. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what the sweet spot would be for the French 40 either. I mean, it's either 100 or to like 150. I'm assuming it'd be, let me see how far. So what I usually do is I go back to the previous entries and I see how far they moved, like this one right here. And then, I'll determine whether it's too far or too close. So maybe 150 would be the sweet spot for this. So this would technically be active right now as well. Yeah, so this would have been a loss, I'm assuming, and this one would have been a win if you decided to take either one of these. So that's still running. That's the most recent active one. The DAX over here. Let me check this real quick. See what we got here for the DAX. So for the DAX, we've got, it looks like the most recent entry would be this green one right here. We do have some zones here too, but the most recent one that would be technically active, because we usually go back to the first one that's active if it hasn't finished yet, which would have been this green one right here. So this green one right here, short position. I think the sweet spot was like 250, right? So this actually would have hit TP already. So for the DAX, this would have hit full TP. And then it looks like there's another one developing right here. So there's going to be another sell entry that is forming here for the DAX. So this hit full TP already for 250 pips. Here's another one down here, another 250. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this, how this ends up closing out. I'm probably not going to take it because of the news right now. Let's check the CNBC real quick. All right. So he's testifying right now. Let's see, watch live. I think he just started. So let me just mute this. Yeah, so they're talking right now. This will probably go on for about an hour, so we're probably not going to take any trades. So let me just go ahead and take a look at look at this right here. It's dropping pretty heavy. Let me take a look at the trades real quick, and then I'll check the chat, and then I can answer any questions for you guys. Since we're not taking any like active trades at this time, I'll be able to answer questions for a bit. And then once they're done, or once I feel like, it's safe to trade, then I will, I'll focus on my scalps. But I think right now we're probably gonna hold off on entering anything until the news is done, just because of the volatility. It's not because we don't know where the price is gonna go, because obviously I think price is gonna go down. Obviously you see this huge drop here. I think it's gonna keep dropping. I mean, our main concern is just gonna be the volatility, right? Because you just don't want to get stopped out before you reach your target. So like, for example, here we have a sell signal. It looks like our K2 signal is going to be a buy signal. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to mark up these support areas so that I know where the bounce is probably going to happen, because we're looking for a buy signal since the most recent signal was a sell signal. And I'll determine whether, we would take these trades or not. So let me see that right there. All right, so these upper ones are irrelevant right now. We're just looking for the bottom ones because we're looking for that rejection. So let me turn this off, and this is for the daily entry, guys. So if you guys are familiar with the daily entry, we're just looking for the first valid K2 signal after market open, which is here at 6:30. If price ends up, breaking below here, you can see it's attempting to close below the structure, right? If it closes below here, it'll probably reject off this point or reject off this point right here. So that's all we'll be looking for right here. Other than that, I'll be waiting for that signal. So going back to the Japanese or Nisei 225 right here, using the same analysis for the other indices, the most recent scalp would have been right here. One of these candles over here, probably this green one would be the best option, which let's see what the sweet spot would be for this. Let me see if we have another entry here. Okay, like this right here. So it looks like the sweet spot for the Nisei might be about 500. So if the sweet spot for that's 500, looks like it just hit TP right here off that. If you were to take this Nisei 500, there's another entry right here actually. So if this closes, this would provide for another sell entry right there. So that's that. Let's check the Nasdaq real quick. Here it is, Nasdaq. Nasdaq's been super choppy lately. I don't think it's a safe asset to trade right now, as it's just been, I think Nasdaq has been the most choppy indice this week. Some people have locked in some profits. So like Mike yesterday, Mike locked in 7,000 like with me, because I locked in 7,000 yesterday. And I think Mike did too. Let me check the results real quick, because I wasn't trading Nasdaq, but I know some people did. Let's see, yesterday was the 23rd. So yeah, Mike right here, you can see the date, February 23rd. He was scalping Nasdaq 100 yesterday, and he locked in some pretty nice profit off that. I mean, everyone did. Whoever sat in on my session yesterday, here's Sisuk over here. He was scalping US 30. He locked in about 3,000 yesterday as well. Yeah, Sisuk was killing it, dude, with these scalps here. It's a double post. I'll delete this one. Let me see what everyone else is trading yesterday. CT took that EG sell that I called. He hit 4,000 off that 600 trading EG. Mark was scalping US 30 GN, and I think that's it. He locked in about 5,000 yesterday too. Yeah, and here's Michael. So Michael is the one that I showed you that made 7,000 on his FTMO. So he passed FTMO in one day. He literally locked in total 10,000 or 7,000 yesterday and 3,000 before that. All in one day. He passed FTMO with just taking those trades. So you guys can see like the power of these this scalp strategy, guys. It's super strong if you guys are applying it properly. It's not even me. Like I didn't even call those Nasdaq trades. Like Mike took him on his own and he killed it. So nice work off that, Mike. See if there's anything else here real quick. I'm just gonna look to see if there's any recent entries for the Nasdaq real quick before we move forward. Anyways, let me just turn this off. So right here, this would have been the most recent entry. We have the rejection off the pivot in the structure right here. With that said, short position right there. And this would have hit TP. So that would have hit TP and it's still running down further. S&P right here, same difference. It looks like all of these US indices have the same entry points. Rejection off the pivot and structure right there. If you took a sell position off that most recent one, obviously full TP already. And then it's going to set up for another entry right here as well. But I'm probably not going to mess with it until the Fed's done speaking. UK 100 has been a mess, guys. I don't know if you guys have been taking it. The daily entry right here. I don't call this. So thankfully I didn't, because it looks like this. Or actually, no, I think if you followed my original strategy, you would have been fine. Because I know a lot of people have different variations to this strategy. But actually, no, you would have lost this trade. So the good thing I didn't call this, because this would have been a straight loss. Let's see. Yeah, this would have been a loss. So guys, be careful when you're applying different strategies for different assets that they're not meant for. Like the daily strategy. I know it does work on UK 100, or it did work at some point, but I don't think lately it's been working at all. So thankfully we haven't called that in the premium, because that would just offset our indices results when, obviously the US 30 is what we normally trade. So that's it for that. And here we are back with a US 30. So we're just waiting now for this to the market's calm down before we take any trades here. So just looking at this here, like I mentioned, this would be the most recent entry, but I'm not going to take it because look at how volatile the market is. If your stop loss is at 500 pips, you're getting really close to that stop loss right there. So that's why I wouldn't take this trade over here. And I would, I just wouldn't take this trade at this time. So I would hold off on that. I'm just marking it up to show you guys that these were the entries here. I mean, obviously, if you took this one up here, this green one, this would have hit full TP. If you took this green one right here, this would have hit full TP too. This one looks like it might have hit stop loss before it hit TP. And you guys can see how like volatile it is, right? Because if you measure the range here, it's only been like 10 or 20 minutes and it's already bounced 1,200 pips each 10 minutes. So if your stop loss is at 500 pips, you're going to get stopped out before it even hits your TP, or you might get lucky and hit your TP before it hits stop loss. But it's just, it's not something that I want to mess with. So there's that trade right there for that scalp that I don't recommend taking, but we're just going to follow it anyways, just to see where we're at. All right. So anyways, let me go back to the chat and see what else we're missing over here. I'm gonna go from the top to the bottom. So let's see. All right. So Peter wants me to take a look at gold. I'll analyze gold for you guys since we're not really trading anything right now. I got some free time here. So Billy, if you're still in your USD CHF, looks like it's about to hit full TP right here. Or I think it was closer actually, right? I think you might have hit full TP already. 47's it's kind of a random number. I think we probably would have set like 40 pips. So 40 pips was your TP. Looks like you would have hit, full TP right there. I usually like to use like full numbers, guys. I like using like 40, 45, 50, something around there, depending on, what I'm trading. But anyways, let's go to gold real quick. Here's gold. Yeah, this ended up playing out like we mentioned, right? So I mentioned that once price was going to break and close past the structure right here, it'd come down and test this. And if it failed to do so, it would bounce back up, but it played out like that. So I'll just analyze it from scratch here. I'll zoom out and I'll show you guys how I analyze things. So here's a naked chart, nothing on there. First thing I do, as you guys know, is I turn on the K²SR indicator so I could identify the rejection points. So once we have that turned on, I'm going to go ahead and draw my zone. So I'm going to start from the top right there. We have another zone right there. We have a bigger zone right here down the middle. We have a zone right here, and then we have a zone down here on the bottom. So that's pretty much it for the zones. Once we have that, we kind of want to know what the lower zone is so that we know if price breaks below this structure, we might know, where it would be going to. So go on the 8 hour right here. Once we go to that, we draw this lower structure off this point. And then with that said, we have everything drawn up, right? So I'm going to go back on the 4 hour. I'm going to turn off the K²SR indicator. And you guys can see from this point, we have some perfectly drawn zones. So as you can see, these zones, actually I can connect these together because they're pretty close. All right, so I'm just gonna delete this extra zone right here. So it's just a cleaner view, right? So like from this point right here, you can see that we have these perfectly nice drawn zones, which have started in November. So in November, it broke into the zone, it broke above, and it came back down. Now it's currently within the zone, and it's just bouncing around from this point. So once we have these zones drawn up on the chart, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. So we can have a determination, we can determine which direction momentum is going. So like, for example, right here, we have a bearish momentum, right? Because the most recent signal was a sell signal here. So I'll show you what I'd be looking for here. The first thing I'd be looking for is like a rejection. So we have a rejection off this zone right here, followed by a sell signal, right? With that said, price generally pushes to the next zone right here. Once it reaches a zone like where price currently is, price can do one of two things. Price can either reject off this point and shoot back up, or it can break below and close below the structure. If it closes below the structure, what do you think is going to happen from that point? It's going to push down to the next structure right here, right? So that's my analysis for gold right now on the higher time frame. Just looking at it from this point, obviously we need to see what happens after this. After this candle closes. This candle closes in about 2 hours and 44 minutes. With regard to this candle right here, if it ends up closing below the structure, then it's probably going to push down right here. And the reason I know that is because this actually just played out right here in the previous, right? So we have the rejection off this point. We have the sell signal right here. We have the breaking close past structure right here. And then what happens from this point it came down to test this structure right here, right? Same pattern, rejection, rejection, sell signal, breaking close past structure, and it drops down to the next zone right here. If it breaks down and closes below the structure, it's probably going to push down here as well. And you can see that it continued, right? So from this point, it broke and closed past this structure again. And then what happened from that point, it tested this structure right here. And like I mentioned, once it does this, it can either bounce up or it can continue down. It didn't continue down, so it bounced up, right? Then it came down here again for a retest. At this point, it didn't close below here, so then it rejected back up here. So it's the same pattern that just keeps repeating itself. And then at this point right here, this would be the thought process, right? The same setup right here is the same setup that happened right here. You can see that price attempted to break and close past the structure. Again, right here, it attempted to break and close past the structure. However, it failed, and then it bounced up from this point, right? It's the same thing that I marked up right here. Price can either reject off the structure and bounce up, or it can break below and continue farther down. So there's two different scenarios here that can play out. But until we see what happens with this candle right here, we're not going to be able to determine, which direction price is going to go. But obviously we have a bearish bias because the most recent signal is a sell signal right here. So that's pretty much my analysis for gold at this time. We can check back on this maybe in the next 2 hours, Peter, like once we get closer to this candle close, because then we'll see, where this candle is going to close at, and we can determine whether it would be good to take a buy or to take a sell. So that's it on the 4 hour. We can look at the scalp as well here on the 30-minute to see if there was any possible entries. So looking at gold on the 30-minute right here, we turn on the zones over here. Let me see if there's anything. No, not really. So it doesn't look like there's any entries at this point. It looks like, yeah, there really hasn't been much. I guess, the most recent entry would probably be up here because there's nothing over here. There has to be a rejection off the pivot in the structure. It looks like the most recent entry would have been right over here off this, this green candle right here. Because I'm going from like current time until now. So the most recent entry would have been this green candle right here, because there's no entries here. We need the rejection off the structure and rejection off the pivot. There's a rejection off the pivot and structure right there. So if you were to take this trade over here for gold, looks like you would have locked in some decent profit off this green candle. Yeah, about 100 pips right there. So you'd have locked in 110 pips right here off this trade. And then since then, there just hasn't been any entries. We could also look at this huge spike right here, right? This is why I mentioned not to take this trade, because the Fed's speaking, they're spiking price up and down. So definitely not taking trades off that right now. We're going to hold off for that to smoothen out before we decide to take anything. But looking at gold over here real quick, let me see if there's any entries that were possibly available off the 10-minute. No. So the most recent entry was actually right over here. And the reason I say that is because there's no, and we have zones right here, but there's no rejection off the pivot in the structure, right? So like, I'll just draw these zones down here and I'll show you that there's no entries that have appeared since then. So looking at this here, we need a rejection off a pivot in a structure. So right here, we have a rejection off the pivot, or a rejection off the structure, but no rejection off the pivot. The most recent one would be this one up here, right? Because we have the wick rejection off the pivot in the structure. So if you took that trade right there, obviously you'd hit full TP. As you can see, it was a perfect snipe entry with no drawdown. So literally straight to TP right there with no drawdown for gold. And that entry came at about 4:50 a.m. So if you're up at 4:50, you probably took this trade. If not, there's just nothing there right now. So we'll be holding off on that. Let's see, we got a signal for US 30. But we're not going to take that trade right now because of how the market is moving. So we're not going to take this buy here, even if it closes, because the Fed is speaking. We might take one in the opposite direction. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw some zones so that we can identify these rejection points. It's going to be really key to identify these rejection points to determine whether it's a safe trade or not. Because if it generally, if the signal bounces off a rejection point, it's usually going to push in that direction. So if I see that, then I would probably take it. So like, for example, here, let me just show you, for example, it's the same analysis that I was doing for gold earlier. So like, check this out right here. Here's a perfect example. See how we have the rejection off the zone right here? Rejection off the zone, buy signal, and look how far it pushes, right? From that point right there. Like when you get a clean rejection like this and it's followed by a buy or sell signal, it's usually going to keep pushing in that direction. So we have this right here. We have another rejection off this point. So clean rejection off this structure right there, sell signal right here, and look how far it pushed, right? So, I mean, there's key things to look at when you're using the K2 indicators. Obviously, I mean, it's pretty simple because the indicators do everything for you. But yeah, just looking at this here, I mean, we have a wick rejection off this point, but it's not rejecting off a structure. So if we do get a buy signal here, it's probably not going to be that strong. It's probably going to just reverse as soon as it closes. So as soon as it closes, it's probably going to reject off this point and come crashing down. And it's going to be an invalid signal as well. So like, I mean, we'll see how this plays out. And then we'll analyze it as we, you know, we can determine how the movement is. But you can see here, like every time that happens, that same pattern that I just showed you, it usually pushes pretty nice. Like for example, right here, rejection off the structure, buy signal right here, and look how far it pushes up, 2,000 pips. So that's that. I mean, David talked about this. It's kind of similar to his strategy with you know, order blocks and stuff. But I mean, if it lines up, if he sees something for a sell or for a buy, and I see something too, it's generally going to hit. So we will we'll hold off on that. Anyways, let me go back to US 30, see how that's running over here. Look at these huge spikes. So this is why you guys should stay out of the market, because this is a huge candle right here. This candle pushed up each candle right here, actually. So if you look at all these candles here from 6:30, so the market opened here at 6:30 up until now, every single candle has moved over 1,000 pips, right? So if you're scalping within this area, you're going to get stopped out, or you might get lucky and you might hit your TP before it stops you out. But the range for a stop loss is 500 pips. So this is over 1,000 pips each candle. So just be careful, guys. I don't recommend entering anything right now. I would hold off for a bit. Even this right here, I don't think this is going to hold, to be honest. If we get a sell in the other direction, I'll probably take that instead. All right. So let me go back to the chat, see if I'm missing anything before we continue on. So that's it for gold. Let's see. Yeah, Sisu said the pivots are setting up for a move down. That's what I can see too, Sisu. Kel said 72% of people are short and the Fed speaks in 20 minutes. So let me check the sentiment real quick. So let's see, US 30 sentiment. Let's move this over here real quick. Yeah, so Powell's still speaking right now. You can see right here it's live. So it's definitely not the time to really take these risky trades. But anyways, looking at US 30 sentiment, yeah, 70% of people are short right now. So price is probably going to go up, which is what's happening right here. I kind of want to take this trade, but I mean, we'll see. We'll wait and see how this, like if anything, we might enter it late. We might enter it, like we'll let it come down for retracement, and then we'll have a buy stop here so that as it swings back up, it'll trigger our order and we'll just go straight to TP. So I'm definitely not going to take this because this is a very strong candle right here and it's still pushing heavily right now. So let's see. Yeah, it's got a long way to go. The all-time high is way up here. So it's got a way far way to go for this right here. But we'll keep watching it. This candle closes in about 5 minutes. So if it closes with a valid signal, this would actually be the daily entry. If you're applying the daily strategy here. And our daily entry yesterday hit full TP. I know it took a while. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, our US 30 position from yesterday hit full TP. It took some time, but then it ended up, pushing all the way up. Like even though everyone thought it was going to drop, it dropped slightly and then it came right back up to where it was supposed to go. So that's why I don't mind taking trades in either direction. It's just I don't like taking when it's risky. So we'll hold off on this for now. But until this closes and until the market starts to smoothen out after, the Fed's done speaking, because they're still speaking here, obviously. When they're done speaking, then we can probably look for some safer entries. But let me keep going on the chat real quick, see if there's anything else. Eric said, as you take a trade at open, LOL, I'm not trading at wrestling, right, Eric? Jess, hey Shawn, using 50. Okay, no, my bad, guys. So yeah, thanks for reminding me about the time frame. I was on the wrong time frame earlier. Let's see. Braden said to check DXY. Let's see what's going on with the DXY right now. Dollar index. Let's see. So the dollar index pushed up above. Looks like it's swinging up right now. What should we tie it against? Maybe the JPY, since it's a safe haven currency. So yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, they're both kind of going, the DXY is weak. I mean, the JXY is weak and the DXY is strong, but it's a huge, you can see a huge wick right there off the DXY. So it's probably gonna come back down. Obviously the move came up slightly and then now it's starting to drop. So that's all I see right there for the DXY, you know, currently Braden. But we'll see how this moves. Because obviously if the DXY continues to push up, then this will continue to push down. However, if the DXY just swings back down from this point and drops back down to where it's supposed to go, then gold will probably reject off this point and then skyrocket. Like for example here. So rejection off this point, buy signal, breaking close past structure, push up to the next structure up here, right? That's kind of what we're looking for here, Braden. If that ends up happening, we'll have a rejection off this point for gold. And then if we get a buy signal, you know, somewhere over here, and then say it closes above here, then we can take a long position right there for a nice little profit for like 100 pips or something, right? Like 150 pips off that point. But, you know, like I mentioned, it's all speculation right now, guys. We're just, we got to wait and see how these candles close out. And even if we get a buy signal, because we're not going to take any buys until we get a confirmation that momentum is actually swinging, you know, in that direction. So just keep that in mind, guys. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else for us to really look at here. Go back to US 30. We got about a minute left on here. I don't know if it's going to close. It doesn't look like it, but we'll see. We'll see how this ends up playing out here. But yeah, guys, you know, just to confirm the, I'm not trading on the 15-minute. I'm still on the 10. It was just the wrong time frame. So John's asking, please show us how you trail a stop on the 15-minute. Okay, so I'll show you a quick example of how I would trail a stop, right? So like, for example, here, let me just find a better example where, okay, so like this right here, I just want to find a pretty decent move so that we can base it off that. So like, for example, here, if we were to enter this trade, because right here, obviously we have the rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure, right? So if we were to take this short position here, and obviously, you know, TP stop loss would be at 50 pips right here. This would be the entry, right? So technically I would have been in this trade right here, John, and then I would go on the 15-minute. And then from this point right here, I would trade like two candles back, like the high of 2 candles. So like, for example, here as it drops down further, see how it drops down a little further, I go back 2 candles. So there's 1 candle, 2 candle. My stop loss is now moved at this point right here at this one. So as it continues to move down further, so let me just move this down. I'll use this horizontal line as the stop loss. So I move my stop loss down to there. And then as it continues to move down further, I'll just put no target. As it continues to move down further, I would move it to the next one. So 2 candles back from here, which would be that wick right there. And then as it continues to move down even further, I just move my candle down, or my my stop loss down to there, right? And then I just keep moving it down as it continues to push down. So like right here, it's still there, 2 candles back. It's 2 candles back right here. So we go 1, 2. Stop loss is down here in profit. Goes down a little further. 2 candles back right here. And then I just keep trailing it, John. Like as it continues to move down further and further, I just keep trailing it farther and farther down. And it looks like it would have stopped me out right there in profit. So it would have stopped me out at about 95, 94 pips. So that'd be on top of the 50, right? Because if we just went for the scalp here and we just went for like a smooth move, we would have closed out right here, which would be perfectly fine. You know, it's still some nice profit. But if you were to, you know, trail it down, that's how I would trail it. So that's why I had the 15-minute up, because I generally trail it on the 15. If I'm taking like a speculative trade like last night where I wasn't really looking for any entries, I was just taking a trade and letting it run for the most part. But anyways, so that's it for that. Let's see if Powell's still speaking. He's still speaking right now, guys. So there's we're going to hold off on taking trades because obviously you can see these big spikes in price. It's not going to be a smooth ride if you guys end up trading right now. So I'm holding off on that right now until he's done speaking. And the reason for this is not because I think market is going to be manipulated. I'm just worried that the volatility is going to push price to your stop loss before it hits your TP. Because like, for example, right here, we have another, actually there's no entry here. Yeah, there's no entry at this point. When I see another entry, I'll mark it up and I'll show you guys. But obviously you can see right here, this is like way too big of a volatility right here. This range right here is 1,200 pips. And you just, you might get stopped out if you end up trading within there. So let me go ahead and take a look at the rest of the questions over here. Alistair said, using my phone, can you guys send me the signals? We don't have a signal right now, Alistair, but they would be sent in the Telegram groups. Kirsten said, how come I have an extra zone? Mine is around where the bottom current candle is. So not sure where your zone is, Kirsten, but if I turn on, so like, this is what I did here. I turned on the K2SR, obviously, and I have these zones down here. So I'm not sure if you have more zones, but mines are lined up pretty much where they're supposed to be. So I'm not sure if yours is off by like a little bit or whatnot. Possibly not. I'm not really sure where yours are located. But let me draw this other zone here. There's another zone above this area. There's a lot of zones now because price keeps bouncing around so much. So we'll keep watching this here, and then we'll keep watching this to see, when they're done speaking. Once you're done speaking, the market starts smoothing out, then we'll take some trades. But I think at this time, it's just a little risky for us to really want to take any trades at this point. Let's see. I just want to make sure the zones are proper on here as well. I'm just looking for these rejection points. That's probably the most important thing right now. Because you can see how much US 30 respects these points, right? Like whenever you have a rejection followed by a signal, it's probably going to continue pushing. For right here, even if we get any of these buy signals, I don't think it's going to be a strong buy signal because as you can see here, there's really no clear rejection, right? There's a wick rejection, but I don't really see it off any structure. So it just doesn't look like a strong rejection for me. It's not something that I'd be looking for. But until we take trades here, we're just going to wait for Powell to stop speaking because he's just going to push price around with whatever he's saying. So other than that, let me keep pushing down the chat over here real quick. Carter's asking, does it cost to be in the Discord? So we don't use Discord, Carter, but if you want access to the premium group, you can sign up. You can go to the website over here at k2trades.com. If you just want the free groups and you want access to the free, like everything that's free, you just click on this right here, k2trades.com, just click on unlock your free access. If you want access to the premium signals where you get my trades real time, you can sign up to this right here. And if you want access to the strategies so that you can identify, these trades, like if you want these indicators and you want to learn what I'm doing here, then just click on K2 strategy course right here. And that's probably your best option because it includes the signals as well. And if you guys can see here, from everyone's profits, a lot of these people, like everyone here in K2 that's been like killing it lately, or not lately, just like the past 2 years, they've been taking trades on their own. Like Sisuk here, he took all of these US 30 trades, but I didn't call any of these trades. I called like maybe 4 or 5 of them. And then same with like CT over here. He took this on his own as well, even though I did call this, but he analyzed it on his own. Same with Mark over here. He took GN. I don't think I called it GN yesterday. So he took these trades on his own as well. And most of these people take their trades on their own. Like Tam over here, I don't even trade SPX. She scalps it on her own and she locked in this much profit. So obviously, you get a better bang for your buck if you actually learn how to trade because, being a professional signal copier can only get you so far. Like I always mention that because people make mistakes here and it's usually because, you know, they don't know what's going on with the trade. It's better for you to actually know what's going on. Like for Braden over here, he took these trades here, and I think he took some of these on his own, like GU, AU, EU, UJ. I don't think I called these trades here. I did call the US 30, so he probably took these from mine. But these up here, I think he took those on his own. And then same with like Miriam over here. You know, she started scalping on her own. She made 5,000 yesterday. So you can see yesterday was actually a very profitable day for a lot of the K2 members. You know, we have a 3,000 profit person here for Sisu. We have a 4,000 profit person here for CT. We have Marco over here for 5,000. And you can see that these are different people. They're not just one person that keeps profiting. There's literally a different person for everyone. Owen over here, 1,000. I'm just looking at the bigger ones here. Braden, 1,000 right here, 400. Miriam, 5,000 right there. Jetta over here, 2,500. And you can see that these are all different people from that same day, 23rd. Nagin over here, locking a couple thousand off that. Patricia over here, 2,900. Jonathan over here, 200. Cheryl over here, 1,800. So you guys can see that, you know, the consistency is there, obviously. So if you guys want access to that, just go on the website, k2trades.com, and click on K2 strategy course here. If you guys want to learn to trade exactly how I do, and so you can apply it on your own. But anyways, back to US 30, it looks like that signal didn't close. We have a rejection off this point right here. So price might be coming right back down, but we'll see. Obviously this would have been the daily entry if it closed, but it's not something that we would really want to take because of what's going on right now with Powell speaking. Let's see. Yeah, they're still speaking here. I'll keep checking in on this to see if they're done speaking, because obviously if, you know, they're still speaking, we're not going to take any trades, because whatever they say is going to push price up or down, and it's the volatility is just too high for us to scalp it. So we will we'll wait. We'll see, because once they're done talking, it's either going to continue pushing up or it's going to correct back down to where it was earlier down here. And then from that point, we can take some scalps. But yeah, it is a heavy news week this week. Let me see if there's anything else tomorrow. Yeah, so after that, I think we should be pretty much good. I mean, we have some news for NZD at 11, but other than that, I think it's pretty much smooth for the rest of the day. So that's it for that right there. Let me check the chat real quick and see if I'm missing anything else. Hey, what's up? Morning, Dennis. Morning, Kadra. How's it going, bro? Kirsten said, could you look at GJ 4 hour? I believe there's a trade after the 4 hour close above the zone. So let me look at GJ for you guys. I'll analyze that for you guys from scratch. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, because we don't really have much to look at right now until the news is done. So I'm going to take everything off the chart here. I'm going to hide that. And there we are with our naked chart here on the 4 hour. First thing I'm going to do, like I mentioned earlier, is turn on the K2SR indicator so that we can identify the rejection points. So we have a zone down there. We have a zone right here. And these zones are kind of irrelevant, right? Because price is too far from these zones. Like price is way up there. So these are kind of relevant, but I'm still going to mark them up anyways so that you guys can see, you know, my thought process behind all my trades, because it's really simple, guys. I use the same analysis for everything. It doesn't matter if I'm trading Forex, if I'm trading indices, if I'm trading commodities like gold. It's the same analysis. I identify the zones first so I can identify where to trade and where not to trade, and then I move on to determine where momentum is going. So this is it for this right here. The next thing I'm gonna do to get the upper zones is go on the higher time frame. There's nothing on the 8 hour here. We'll go on the daily, nothing there. We'll go on the weekly, and there's our zones. So we have this upper zone right here. The next up, we need to get a higher zone to determine, you know, where price is going to go when price breaks that structure. There we go. So Kirsten, looking at this here, I just drew these zones for GJ. Yeah, it looks like price did break structure right there. I'm sure we have a bullish bias, right? Yeah, we do. So from this point right here, it looks like price will probably, I mean, it's just retesting the structure right here. It broke it, then it's retesting it. So price broke structure, it's retesting structure. And then I think if it swings back up, it'll continue up even higher. So just looking at this here, let me just show you my analysis from where it started, or like from right before it broke this structure. So it's the same analysis that I used earlier for gold. Basically, we identify the rejection off structure. So we have rejection right here. We have the buy signal right here. we have the break and close past structure right here. And then what happens from that point, it pushes up to the next structure right here, right? What happens when price breaks and closes past that structure above here? It pushes up to the next structure up here, right? So it's the same pattern, it just keeps repeating itself. You know, rejection, buy signal, breaking close past structure, push up to the next structure, breaking close past structure right there, push up to the next structure over here. So as you can see from this point, this is what Kirsten identified. She identified that price broke and closed past structure right there. And you can see that when price breaks and closed past structure, it usually retests. So like right here, it breaks and closed past structure, retraces a little bit for this retest, and then it shoots all the way back up, right? So same situation again right here. We had price break and close past the structure. So it's probably going to retest this right here before shooting up from this point. So if you wanted to take this trade, Kirsten, you can put a buy stop at that specific price point, and then you can just wait for it to fill. So like what you can do here is you can place a long position buy stop right there. Let's see. Depending on how far your risk tolerance is, you can use either a 50 pip TP stop loss, or you can use a 100 pip. So like, for example, if you want something tight, you could do a 50 pip, so that once price, so like say for example here, if price ends up swinging up from here, it'll fill and hit TP, right? And then vice versa, if you were doing 100 pip, it'd be a bigger move, but that's probably what's going to happen because the next zone is pretty far off. So once price reaches this point, it's probably going to push up all the way up to here. It might not be a smooth move up like this, because obviously you can see this is a smooth move up right here. It might come up, it might come down. So it might come up, maybe smaller retracement at some point. And then at that point, it might shoot up even further to full TP. So that's pretty much what I see happening there. Kirsten, I don't know if you're looking for a buy, but you can place a buy stop there and then catch that as it pushes up from that point. So that's pretty much what we're looking for right there off GJ. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else for us to look at for our scalps over here. All right, so that signal did close right there for the daily entry, but I'm not going to take it right now because of the news that's going on. This can easily spike back and forth. Obviously, you can see right here that it pulled back quite a bit, came up and it pulled back, and then it shot back from that point over there. So that's pretty much it for that right there. But like I mentioned, we're going to wait for Powell to finish speaking before we take any more trades. So they're still speaking right now. You guys can see here on my screen. And they're probably going to spike price around. It being profit right now, but that's a big move for it to push. And I'm not going to take that risk. So if you guys want to take it, I mean, that'd be the daily entry, but I don't recommend taking it because it's just, you don't know if this could just reverse off this point right here. But who knows? It might hit TP, it might not. But we know that right now, a lot of this volatility is due to the news that's pushing price up and down at the specific moment. So other than that, let me see if there's any other questions here. So that's it for GJ. Let's move over here real quick. City said GBP NZD 4-hour entry. So let me go to GN real quick. So yeah, technically this would be a 4-hour entry right here. City, let me just reanalyze it again for you guys from scratch. So we'll take this off over here real quick. And then we will turn on the K2SR indicator over here. And then let me see if there's anything else. All right, so I'm going to analyze this real quick for you guys. So sorry, I'm just looking at I'm getting a bunch of messages here. You guys can see my Telegram is blowing up right now. So if you guys are sending me messages on Telegram, I'm not going to be able to get to you guys just yet. I'll get to you guys after this session. So let me just finish drawing this up real quick for GN for city. So we could probably connect this right here. And one right there. All right, so looking at that there, we have a bearish buy. So this is what Citi identified here. So this move actually started way up here. We had the rejection from this point. We had the sell signal right here. It failed to break and close past structure right here. So it retraced up a little bit. And then it finally came back down right here. So came back down right here, broke and closed past the structure. So this would be a decent sell entry right here, Citi. It's just I held off on it because of the news. But yeah, technically this would be an entry right here. I'm just gonna mark it up on my end. So I'm gonna mark this up here so I know what to look for later when I'm looking for trades off the next 4-hour candle close. So it could provide for a late entry right there. But this would be the trade for GN if you're looking at that there, Citi. So that's pretty much it for that right there. Let me go back to US 30 real quick. Or let's see if Powell's still speaking. They're still speaking right now. So we're just we're still doing the same thing, just waiting for this to end so that we can take some trades here. So this is still the daily entry right here. This is fine because when price comes back down, like for example right here, when it retraces down and then comes back up, we can take some scalps as they appear on this end, which is what I'd prefer to do anyways. So let me see everything else over here real quick and see if there's anything else to look at. Let's see, Billy said I closed it at negative 476 SMH. That spike down got me nervous, but I have a new thing where any Forex pair I don't want going more than 500 negative. This way a US 30 scalp will be able to cover it. Yeah, no, definitely, Billy. We were talking about that too yesterday, right? Because I was talking to you about, I mean, it's the whole trade psychology thing, right? Until you're like fully confident, you're not going to be able to hold on to these trades. But yeah, dude, looks like this would have hit full TP if you held on to that USD CHF we were talking about yesterday. So here we are back at US 30. Let me see if there's anything else here real quick. Alistair said, Shawn, can you send the signal in the Telegram? I mean, there's no signal right now. Alistair, I'm not sure what you're referring to. When you do have signals, I'll send them, but there's no entries right now that are available. And if I do send them, they're going to be sent in the premium, Alistair. So if you're not, I'm not sure if you're in the premium, but if you are in the premium, you'll get it. It's just not it's not available right now. There's just no entries that are we're willing to take. So see this big rejection right here. This is why I was waiting to take this trade, because it's just going to bounce back and forth while they're still speaking. So they're still speaking right here. I'm going to keep checking in like every few minutes. They're probably going to be done by like 8. So like in 10 minutes, the market will probably smooth out a bit, and then we can possibly take some scalps. So this is what I was mentioning right here. I was waiting for this to come down, retrace, and then once we have a rejection of the pivot and structure around this area, we can take another buy upwards for a scalp. So that's what we're waiting for here. But like I mentioned, guys, it's just a game of patience right now because there is news going on and the Fed is speaking, which is, going to affect the market heavily. So we'll keep watching this here. But other than that, let me check the chat to see if there's any other questions. Carter said, I heard even numbers are snipe entries. Yeah, well, I use a fixed TP stop loss when you scalp. So, all the snipes that we take are like 500 pips. We don't really take any of the big moves because we take multiple scalps instead of just like one big move. See, Indra said, hey, morning, Indra. Merskball said, current candle on US 30, you said it would be false, would be a false sell or false buy. Merskball, I'm not sure what you're referring to. This is the signal is a buy. There's no false buy or false sell here. It's an actual buy signal. but we're not taking it because the news right now, because we don't want to get caught in any of these whipsaws. I think eventually it'll push up. So I'm not going to take the daily entry, but I'm going to take these scalps as they appear. But there's no scalps right now, obviously, for US 30 until price comes down to retest this structure and reject off this pivot. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so Merskov was referring to gold, not US 30. Mark said, Shawn, look at the 4-hour trend. Which one are you referring to, Mark? I'm not sure which. Like, if you guys want me to look at something, make sure to put like the asset there, so I know what you're talking about. Because I'm not sure when your question came in, or so that was a while back. Let's see. Leaky said, never mind, saw gold. Okay, Chris said disappeared now. Yeah, no problem, Carter. Leaky said, I can only seem the aftermath of trades. Can't find people. What? Leaky, you were here yesterday. You saw me call trades live. I don't know what you're referring to. Like, you were literally here on the live session yesterday when we took all of our trades. I'm not sure what you're referring to with aftermath of trades. As City said, Shawn, keep in mind these questions and comments are posted quite some time before you actually see them. Some questions might seem quite redundant. Yeah, no, I agree, City. That's why sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I'm not even sure what they're referring to. Let's see, Billy said, yeah, it's something I'm working on. I feel like I have a technical part going for me. I know what to look for in trades, but sometimes my psyche gets the best of me. Yeah, no, I mean, that's usually what it is, Billy. It's trade psychology. A lot of people don't have the trade psychology to hold on to a trade or to, execute when they need to. But I mean, it's fine. You're still new to it. You're still like fairly new to this. So you'll build it over time, especially with the scalps, since you've been applying them and they've been hitting, the more you hit profit, the more you win, the more confident you'll get with the specific strategy that you're applying. Hey, Samurai, how's it going, bro? Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Let me just go and see if there's any entries that are possibly available right now. Let's see. Here's US 30. It's still pushing up right there as we follow it. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, guys, we're still waiting for the Fed to stop speaking. They're still speaking right now. So until they are done speaking, we're probably not going to really look for anything. Because the last thing you want to do is get into a trade and it ends up reversing on you, right? Because obviously, like, what they're saying here is pushing US 30 up, obviously. And then, as soon as they're done, it might retrace back down. So we don't want to get in too early. We want to wait for this to actually confirm before we take that trade. So I'm waiting for the scalps here, because if this does retrace back, we'll be able to take that scalp upwards. But yeah, for the most part, everything looks pretty much fine so far. Let me go through the other indices real quick, see if there's anything else here. So the Aussie 200, this is one that I was mentioning earlier this morning, and we're not going to take any of these trades either, because the Fed's going to affect like pretty much everything. Even though it's just the US, like, you can see everything here is swinging up, right? And that's why I was mentioning not to take any of these trades here, because everything is swinging. Like, even right here, you can see all the indices are moving one direction, right? They're going bullish right now. Aussie 200 is bullish, China 50 is bullish, the Spain 35 is bullish, the France 40 is bullish. So with that said, I mean, it's going to give us a clear indication that we should probably be taking some bullish moves, but we'll be looking for some actual entries as they appear. So this is why I said not to take any trades on market open, because all of this is being pushed by the news right now. So let me see if there's anything else over here real quick. Yeah, nothing here at all. We're just looking for this to play out. Nice. City said that GN is taking off. So let's look at that GN that I analyzed for you guys like not too long ago. The GN right here. Yeah. So this is the GN entry that I marked up earlier for City. It's looking pretty good, City. So if you took that, it looks pretty nice. Looks like it's pushing down. I was gonna call that, but there is NZD news coming in like 3 hours. So it's going to be a little risky, depending on how the news is. So let me check the news real quick. Yeah, so at 11:10 they have it's basically just the NZD governor who's going to speak. So I'm not sure what they're going to be referring to, but we will we'll see. Looks like the crude inventory in the U.S. is low. So it was negative 7.3 last month. They're forecasting it to be a little. Actually, no, it's not that bad. It's actually pushed up a little bit. So that's the GN that Citi was mentioning. You guys can see in the chat. This is what GN, what Citi asked for the analysis for GN. It looks perfectly fine. Looks like it's going to drop. Let me check GJ too for Kirsten. So GJ hasn't swung up yet. It would still be a pending buy stop, but the GN right here is looking nice. GN's looking nice. NZD CAD. This would have been an entry here as well if anyone took it. I obviously didn't call that trade yesterday. I was going to, but I didn't because I didn't think it was going to be a smooth trade. So I'm gonna take that off my alert list. All right, everything else here looks pretty smooth for the most part. Nice. Yeah, so John took that trade too. So nice work, John and Citi. If you guys took that trade when I analyzed it a few minutes ago, it dropped straight into profit since the last time we looked at it. Samurai said Citi possibly, but I expect will hit his TP first. Yeah, I think it'll drop. I mean, so TP1 would be like, or TP2 would be half of this, which would be, let's see, 35. So we can just set like a marker at TP2, which would be 50% profit. So that would be your TP right there, Citi. If you're looking for this, it looks like it's about to hit TP. If you had your TP there, TP would be at 1.90833, and there you go. So you hit TP2 right there if you took this trade. And it's probably going to keep pushing down to TP. I probably should just call this trade. Fortunately, I didn't, but it was a nice call by you, Citi, because you did mention this to me. I didn't identify it myself. You identified it, I analyzed it, and it played out like exactly how you anticipated. John's asking, any good trades for US 30 today? Wanted to check. So this is a daily entry here. It's technically active right now. Looks like it's still pushing up. Reason why we didn't take it is because the Fed's speaking right now. So it actually hit TP1 right there. So if you guys did take the daily entry, looks like it hit TP1 for you guys. Fortunately, we didn't call it. Would have been a nice TP for this. So that's US 30 right now. We're just looking for some scalps now. Once they're done speaking, they're still speaking now, the Fed right here. So once they're done speaking, we're going to wait for this to retrace down a little bit, and then we're going to take some scalps as it shoots back up. So we'll just wait and see how this plays out. Otherwise, I mean, it's a heavy news morning today. We had US news we had GBP news at 6:30 a.m., the monetary policy report hearings, and we had the Fed speak from 7 a.m. until now. They've been speaking for about an hour now. And then following in the next 2 hours, we have NZD news that's high impact. So, I mean, we're just waiting for it at this point. There's not really much for us to really do because we don't want to enter trades when news is happening, because it can easily just whips on you. So like, for example, if you enter this trade, it might just swing right back down. And then at that point, it'll either, come back up or continue farther down. So we're not really chasing these trades at this point. We're trading conservatively and waiting for, entries to present themselves. Sorry, losing my voice from, I think from all the sessions yesterday, because I had sessions all day yesterday. So I'm like literally losing my voice from talking literally all day. But yeah, here's the daily entry here if you guys took it. And if you guys are familiar with this, I mean, obviously you guys are familiar with the strategy. If you guys have been sitting here, basically we wait for the market to open here at 6:30. First valid signal will be here, this buy signal. We take it for a 1,500 pip move. And there it goes. But yeah, we're just waiting for it now. We're waiting for it to come back down, provide for some scalp entries, and then we'll be, obviously hopping in all those trades. But until then, let me see if there's any other zones here. Might be some new zones as price continues to push up higher. So nothing right there. Let me check the Zoom real quick. Looks like we have a bunch of questions here. So let's see. Jack said, did I see your K² Srv2 settings are, yeah. So my settings are 100 to 500, just so that I can have them go across the entire screen. So like, for example, here, I want them to go across the entire screen. So I just changed the length to be a little wider. Let me check over here real quick. Gerald said, so after Powell speaks or after a heavy news event, like for example, US major news, when will you start looking for trade opportunities? Like right after, Gerald. There's not really much of a gap in between, because the market has already reacted to the news. Once the news happens, market has already reacted to it. Like for example, right here, this reacted to the Fed news, right? Because the Fed started speaking like at 7 right here. So you can see from 7, this is the 7 a.m. candle. Right after the 7 a.m., once they started speaking, it just started going up directly, right? It just started pushing up heavily. So from that point right here, we're just, obviously this move right here was the market reacting to the news. And I don't even know what they were talking about during the, let me see if they gave updates here. Because usually they give some updates here where they indicate, what they said, but it doesn't look like there's any notes here just yet. They're just having like a panel. And they're still speaking. So, I mean, we'll see. The news was good yesterday, though. So when Powell spoke yesterday, it was beneficial, and that's what kind of pushed price up the other day as well. Like for example, right here, the 23rd, was it 6 a.m.? Oh no, okay. So the 23rd right here, you can see the same thing happened because the Fed spoke yesterday as well at like 6 a.m., like when the market just opened. So as soon as they spoke, it was beneficial for the market because it pushed it up, right? So they spoke, it pushed it up, came back down for the retrace. And then again, right here, it's pushing it up again. So generally, once they speak and they say something, it's going to push market already, Gerald. We're just waiting for it to stabilize because our scalps are only 500 pip moves. So if we try to enter right now where there's too much volatility, each candle is moving like 1,000 pips, right? So if it's moving 1,000 pips, odds are it's going to be really risky for you to catch these scalps because it can possibly hit your stop loss before it hit your TP. So that's pretty much, what we're looking for here. But we're just waiting for it. We're waiting for everything to die off because we would prefer the market to be a little slower, not like too erratic, because if it's too erratic, then it'll probably hit your stop loss too quickly. Or your TP quickly. It just depends on, if it moves in your favor or not. Let me check these alerts real quick. All right, my alerts are good. And I mean, we're good for the most part. So let me check the chat here on the YouTube real quick. Zephyr is asking, hey, Shawn, can you explain what does the SR settings for the 100 bars mean? Would increasing the numbers give us more structure for snipes? So it only goes back. So 100 bars means 100 bars, Zephyr. So like, for example, here, if you have 100 bars, like you mentioned, the settings here are 100 bars, right? If that's the case, it only goes back 100 bars. So like, for example, here, you go back 100 candles, which would be right here. So if you go back 100 candles right here, which would be 100 bars, it's going to give you zones within this area right here. You can increase it if you want, but it's going to be irrelevant because, you don't want, like, you really don't care if the zones are far, like way out here, because you're scalping. If you're scalping, you want to know where price is within this area here, right? You don't want to know what price is doing like over here, like 2 days ago, because what's important is like where price currently is right now. So like, for example, here, if we go back 100 bars, that's going to be equivalent to 16 hours and 50 minutes. So we're basically just going back to see where price was, where the structures were created about 16 hours ago versus, going back like I don't know, 32 hours ago, like back here, because these become irrelevant. You know, you want the most recent zones that were created within this area. So that's why we leave it at 100 bars. But if you want to increase it, I mean, you can. It's not going to make a huge difference though, because you can see that price was just ranging within this area anyways. So you're just going to get the same zones that you were looking for in the first place. So, I mean, you can experiment with it, Zephyr, but I don't think it's necessarily going to make a huge difference. You might get like a few more zones, but it's not going to make a difference. You can always just go on the higher time frame to get more zones if you really wanted to, because they'll line up with that specific price point. Nice. So City said made 1,050 off that GN signal. Let's check it out real quick. So that GN right there. Nice. Yeah. So it's still pushing. Looks like it's going to continue pushing down a full TP right there. And if you guys want me to share your profits in the group, obviously, you can see here that I save everyone's profits. If you guys want me to share your profits, just send it in like any of the groups or in the, or to me directly. And then I can add you guys to the list for the daily profits that I send out in the group. Because obviously you guys can see here that I send out everyone's profits. Like I send out my profits here. These are my scalps from last night. I locked in like about 1,696 for like one of my accounts, and then it was copied to another account. And then, throughout the day, I mean, you guys are familiar. If you guys are familiar with K2, I post everyone's profits here, like Owen's profits right there, Jeremy's profits right there, Braden's profits right there. And if you guys want to be added on the public groups to, share your profits, just send them over to me or send them in any of the other groups and I'll save them for you. All right. But anyways, back to US 30. Looks like US 30 is pushing up higher and higher. So whoever took this daily entry, congrats. Looks like you're making some nice profit off it. Kind of wish I took it now, but there's no looking back on it. It's fine. Well, reason for this not taking it was due to the news, which it's all right. It's not a big deal because we're still going to catch these scalps as it comes back down. We're just waiting for Powell to stop speaking. They're still talking right now, guys. Usually they end within an hour, but they've gone over an hour now. They're just having a Q&A session with all of the committee members. Oh, damn. So Carter mentioned they're saying the Fed is expected to speak until 1 p.m. So damn, that's a long time. If that's the case, you might not really take any trades. Or at this point, I think like once they get halfway through their session, I think it's going to start to smoothen out, because it looks like it's smoothing out right now. Because you can see from the beginning over here. So they started speaking here at 7 o'clock. You can see that it was moving like 1,200 pips per candle, right? So that candle was 1,200 pips. This candle was 800 pips. And then you can see that it's starting to slow down a bit. This was about 600 pips. It looks like every candle, it slows down by like 200 pips, 500 pips, another 700 pips. So we'll just have to wait and see how everything is sort of moving. And then we have to basically, adjust with market, because after this big push right here, price is likely to come down and test one of these areas. It's going to come down, test here, test here, test here, test here. And then at that point, it can either reject off it or it can continue farther down. So, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But until then, it's not really much for us to really focus on at this point. Wow, look at this, the daily entry right here. It's about to hit full TP for the daily US 30 entry. All right. Let's see what else we've got over here. Let me see if I missed anything over here. I think it hit the lower zone for full TP. Yeah, I think so too, Samurai. I think GN will hit that lower zone and hit that full TP. It's just, it's going to take some time, obviously. And then we'll see if the NZD news later actually affects it, which it probably will at 11. But that's like in 3 hours. So we have a lot of time before that ends up pushing. Samurai said, or CT said, not CT City said, okay, cool. Yeah, so City's doing the 100K challenge for FTMO right now. Yeah, that's what I figured too, John. So John mentioned the meat of the speech is probably done a long time ago, and that's what I saw too. So basically, this big move over here, like down here, was already the meat of the announcement. So that happened, and then now price is just continuing in that direction. So at this point now, we're just waiting for it to come back down so that we can get some sort of entry off this point. So we're just waiting for it to come down, test the structure and the pivot, and then catch that snipe in that direction. There's not really much to to do right here, because you don't want to chase this trade. As soon as if you enter a long position here and this ends up coming down, it's probably going to stop you out. So that's why we're just waiting for this to lose its steam, come back down, test the structure and the pivot, and then once it does that, we can take a long position scalp for this. Kirsten said, I missed the daily US 30 entry. Could I put a pending order when it retraces? No, I wouldn't. Kirsten, it already hit TP1. Once it hits TP1, we don't recommend entering it late because it's too far up. You missed that on a lot of pips already, Kirsten. So you're already off from entry about 1,005 pips. So you're like way too late for this. If you wanted to enter this late, it would have been off this candle right here about 10 minutes ago. But from that point, it's already pushed up way too far. And here's the red candle, like I mentioned. It's probably going to drop down a little bit. I don't know if it's going to go straight up just yet. I think it has to retrace slightly before it ends up continuing up higher. So we'll see how this moves. Other than that, I mean, there's not really much for us to really take right now because we're just waiting for the news to finish. Yeah, he's still speaking. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's still speaking, but if this ends up coming down, provides for an entry, then we might think about taking it because it'll probably just correct back up. And let's see how far is it from this point. It's only about 700 pips, so this can easily pull back a bit, reject off the pivot and structure, and then we can take that entry off that point. So we'll be waiting for that. Let's see. Nice. Samurai said his FX book had 133% gain with 11% drawdown on a scalp account and 31% gain and 6% drawdown on a swing. Yeah, nice. It's been a great month for us too so far, Samurai. That's pretty good results for you for your scalping and your swing trades. Our scalps have been pretty good this year too. I think well, just this week, actually. This week, I think, well, you weren't here yesterday, Samurai, but yesterday was like my biggest day, my biggest single day of trading, really. So like, for example, here, I think I had so these are my profits for the week, just scalping. So it was like Sunday night up until yesterday morning. So that was like 2 days of scalping. These are all my trades here for the week. I locked in about like 13 off that. We just had some really good trades because we combined my strategy with David's. So these were my profits for the day. And then there was another one below that, but this is pretty much the profits for the day yesterday. We had some really big moves down here. And then I had another one for like another 2,000-3,000 below this, which bumped it to like a 10,000 for the day. But it was pretty good. I mean, we took a big move here off US 30 when it came down from this point. It was like, the 22nd at night. We had a scalp entry right here, and I actually took it, and then I wrote it all the way down here with a heavy lot size because it matched with me and David's analysis. So I actually took this to down there. And this trade right here, this is how I locked in this. That's how I locked in this 4,000 right here. Well, I took two. I took this entry and I took one below it. So I took like some staggered entries right here. That's why one was for like about 4,000. The other one was for about 3,000 because I had one up here and then one down there. And then we took another entry right here as well, like right before the market closed. So we took that, and then we had another scalp entry over here. I think it was, I know it was a buy scalp. Oh, it was this one right here, I think. It was like this one over here. We took this trade right here as well. And that's where I finished off that move there. It was about a 500 pip move. that point. So that was pretty much it. That's how we locked in those, like these profits over here. So it's been, I mean, it's been pretty decent so far the past couple of days. Hopefully it continues to move like this, because it was moving pretty smooth for the the past couple of days so far. So we're just gonna keep, we're gonna keep taking them as they appear. But right now it's just a game of patience, waiting for the Fed to stop speaking. I mean, at this point, I don't think this is going to be a big deal anymore, because it looks like it already finished its move from the news, and looks like it's just going to smoothen out. We can catch some moves from here as it continues to move up and swing back down. City's asking, what's David's strategy? He just trades pure price action. City, he trades off order blocks. So usually when his price action lines up with my analysis, it's usually like a for sure hit. And that's why I took heavy lot sizes off that, because I was so confident that I was going to hit, and it did hit. So worked out perfectly for me yesterday. Samurai said, thanks, buddy. Yes, I've been watching your stream when I can. Flying nice work. Yeah, definitely, Samurai. We've been trying to stay as consistent as possible on here. And it's been a pretty good month so far. So I'm pretty glad that we had a pretty good month for February, because February sometimes could be a really slow month. I think last year was kind of slow, and then this year it kind of picked up. So thankfully it was slow in the beginning of February, and it actually picked up towards the end, which worked out perfectly for us, because we were able to lock in some decent profit off that. John's asking, do you use hedging? No, not really. I don't hedge at all. I just, because the problem with hedging is, well, I know how to hedge, obviously, because I used to do it before when I used to scalp other positions. But hedging, if you don't know what you're doing, you can like blow your account really quick if you take too big of a lot size. The way I hedge trade sometimes is I'll take like a full move, like I'll have a full move running, and then I'll scalp within it. Like this is what I did last night. Let me see if I have my profits here from last night, actually. Yeah, so these right here, I kind of hedged these trades over here. So let me see, I took these trades last night. Let me just go to a clean chart over here, and I'll show you guys what I did, because I said I was going to explain what I was doing yesterday. Let me go back in the 10-minute. So what I was doing is I was taking scalps within, let me fix this. Where'd my freaking wicks go? Oh, there we go. Wait. Yeah. So like right here, I took those trades last night. Let me see, when did I take those trades? I took those trades last night around, oh, it was right here. All right. So if I just go back to this area over here, let me just rewind it, because I knew there was other zones here. Trying to figure out where these yeah, okay, so I think I'm trying to figure out where my entry was. I think my entry was right here, because I did take a sell. Let me see what my profits were over here again. So I think I took, oh, actually, okay. So I remember now. I'm just trying to figure out where my entries were yesterday. So I think this is the entry that I took, actually. I took this green one right here. So this is where this trade started. Yeah, this was like midday. So the trade started right here. We had this green candle. And what I did was I take like the, obviously, we take the full move first. Or actually, sorry, I don't think this is the move here. I think it's the following one. Anyways, let me just show you guys what I did here. So basically right here, this would have been the original entry. The reason for this original entry is because we have the rejection off the pivot and the structure. So after that rejection right there, I take this trade here. And then as it comes up, as it comes back down, so see as it comes up right here, as it comes back down and breaks below the structure like that and closes, like this, for example, like this would be the full move right here, but I also hedge within it using the K2SR strategy. So like, for example, there I enter another position right here and I go for a small little move. Like something like the risk reward isn't that good for hedging because you're just going for the smaller move. But for example, right here, I took these two trades. So I hit this full TP off this one, and then I also hit TP off this one. And that's why I have these two wins right here back to back. So I have this for 1400 because I had that full move right here. And then I hedged within it right here for a smaller 300 pip move. And that's why I locked in, for the first one, I locked in 1400. For the second one, I locked in 1080. And then I actually hedged it again as it came back. So like, for example, there, when it came back down over there, I ended up taking like a small little scalp right there as well for, I think, like 220 or 200 or 300 pips, something like that. And then I ended up hitting TP right there as well. So that's how I locked in these three profits. I locked in 1400 off the first one, which would be the big move. I locked in 1800 or 1080, which would be this small little hedge right here. And then, so I pretty much just traded within the trade. And then again, right here, the small one, I think, yeah, I put my TP too close because the numbers are a little different on MC4. And that's why I only locked in 855 off that one. So that's pretty much how I hedge. I don't hedge because there's different ways of hedging. This is the way I hedge, but there's some other ways where people will hedge where like they'll have one entry. And this works too. Don't get me wrong. This works too. I just find this way of hedging to be a little risky. So people will have this, and every time it comes back to entry, they just enter another position, right? And then they just stack up positions off that same one that they were taking. For me, I like confirmation. Like I want confirmation that price is going to come down. Like for example, right here, I had this full entry going, and then down here, I had the break and close past the structure. So once I had that, it was a confirmation that price was going to come down and test this lower structure, right? So with that said, that's where I entered that hedge for that second position. Even though it was a late entry, it was just a small hedge in that direction. And then again, the same situation right here, price broke and closed past the structure. I would have anticipated it to push and test this structure as well. So that's how I hedge personally. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways to hedge. You just have to really know what you're doing because it can end bad like really quickly if you over leverage it. All right, let's look at US 30 real quick again. So US 30 over here looks like wow, it's about to hit full TP for that daily entry for whoever took it. Obviously, I didn't take it, but if you guys took it, looks good. Yeah, I mean, Zephyr is asking what are order blocks. I mean, you can just YouTube it. There's a lot of videos explaining it. I don't trade order blocks, so I don't necessarily like. I use my K2SR zones. I find these to it already explains to me what's going on in the market. I don't really need it necessarily, but sometimes order blocks will they'll line up with the K2SR zones too. And yeah, it's basically what like Samurai mentioned. He said that it's like, sideways consolidation. Like if you look at US 30, if it's consolidating sideways, you can see that when price breaks out of this consolidation, like price goes sideways, and then when it breaks outside of it, it dumps, right? So that's one way to do it. But like I mentioned, I don't trade order blocks, so I can't really explain it to you in detail. You can just there's a bunch of YouTube videos that explain it on there as well. Here, let me see over here real quick. Yeah, so Samurai said, Zephyr, your USD has a 30-minute time frame order block breakout to the downside, waiting for a retracement to finish. Then I'm shorting it. It should line up with your zones, K2. Yeah, so let's go on your USD real quick, and I'll just show you guys what me and Samurai have just mentioned. And that's why I use the K2SRs. It's I mean, I like the K2SRs because it's a lot smoother. But yeah, if I line up my zones here, they might not show up on the 30. I might have to draw my zones on the 4-hour. Okay, so yeah, looking on the 4-hour here, I think it looks a lot cleaner actually. So we got that zone right there. That zone right there. Or I mean, we could even do the zones on on the 1 hour if that lines it up properly. Yeah, it's kind of messy here on the 4 hour. Let's go on the 1 hour. Yeah, this is way cleaner. So just looking at this here, I mean, if we're just looking at where price currently is, it does line up with the zones slightly. Or I mean, look at that, I think that zone that you're talking about is right here. So if I turn this off. Yeah, because it was like these are consolidation zones right here. Price is consolidating right here, broke below. There's another consolidation zone right here. So this might actually just go into consolidation here before, either breaks above or breaks below. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see where this ends up pushing from there. Nice. Yeah. So let me go back to the 30-minute because we're looking at this on the 30-minute actually. Oh, it's the same thing. So yeah, Samurai said your USD should wick off the 30-minute zone, 1.21410. Yeah, this looks perfect right here, Samurai. That's actually a good identification. So let's see, here, I'm just gonna mark it with my horizontal line. 1.21410. Yeah, it's exactly where you mentioned it right there. So that zone right there, if it rejects off it, so that's probably what's gonna happen here. It'll probably reject off it, and then it might dump from that point. But who knows? I don't know. We'll see if the US dollar even gets strong. It's probably gonna get stronger after the Fed continues to speak. But yeah, I can see the rejection off this point, Samurai. Nice. So you shorted it. Looks good because it's a pretty clean rejection off this point. If I turn on the momentum indicator, oh, you're on point. Yeah. Like literally that momentum signal was right off that rejection, right? Rejection off the zone. And it's probably going to continue dropping from that point. We have the rejection here. Sell signal right here. I actually already came down. So rejection off this zone right here, sell signal, it pushed down to this structure right here. And then now it's just retesting, like you mentioned. It's retesting up here before it comes back down. So I think it looks pretty solid off this. Hey, what's up, David? D-Rez. You got home today? No work? All right, so the US 30 daily position hit full TP if anyone took it. Obviously, I didn't take it, but I called, I gave it to you guys earlier. Reason I didn't take it is because of the news this morning. So Powell is still speaking as we're on here. But now that it's at full TP, it's probably going to come down from this point. And then full TP on that GN as well. So congrats to Citi and whoever else. I know there was one other person in here that took this when I analyzed it earlier. So both you guys hit full TP if you ended up taking that. And yeah, it touched exactly where we anticipated, right, Samurai? Right to that support zone. Touch the zone. And then there we go, full TP. Nice, Dave. It's lunchtime going home. Yeah, Sam, full TP on US 30 as well. So whoever took these trades here, nice work. If you guys want to go back and see my analysis, you can always just rewind this replay and see when I analyze this entry here and how I analyze US 30 as well, using two of the main strategies that we apply for Forex and for US 30. I'm still looking for some scalps, guys. That's all I'm waiting for right now. I'm waiting for this to come down, test the structure, and then come back up. But I mean, who knows? Price can easily just reverse down, come back out for retest, and then we'll take sells. It doesn't really make a difference for us. We're going to be taking, the trade either way, whether it's a buy or a sell. We're just waiting for that actual entry to present itself. So nice work, guys, for GN and for US 30. Let me see if there's anything else over here as well as we continue down. Sandra said, how do you calculate the profit and stop loss? It depends, Sandra. I'm not sure which strategy you're applying, but you can place it at the previous swing, or you can place it, you have a fixed TP stop loss. It just depends on what you're applying. If you're scalping, we use a fixed TP stop loss, but if you're trading intraday or swing, we place it at the previous swing. So it just depends on what you're applying necessarily, Sandra. So I'm not sure what you're applying, But if you could be a little more specific, like with a specific trade or an asset, then I could show you. But I'm not sure what are you referring to, because there's different ways to figure out where to put your TP stop loss, and it depends on what time frame and asset you're trading. Harris said, Shawn or K2, you think S&P could be a sell? Let me check real quick. Let's go to S&P. So I'll analyze this from here. I'll just reanalyze this on the higher time frame. We'll do a top-down analysis to see, where the rejection points are. Turn on this momentum or this K2SR indicator, and let's draw our zones up here. So we got that zone up there. We got this big zone right here. Big zone right here. Pull this down right here. This one again right there, and one last one down here. So once we have these zones drawn up, next thing I'm gonna do is turn on the momentum indicator, so we can identify where momentum is. So right now we currently have a bullish momentum, so I don't see it coming down just yet. Harris, I'm not sure how you identified the sell. I mean, if you can send a chart here, so I can analyze like what you analyzed, and I can match it with, like, I can see how it matches up with mine. But just looking at this here, this is, I mean, obviously it's bullish right here. We had the rejection off this point. We had the buy signal right here. It pushed up to this next structure above here. Then it swung down, right? Once it swung down, another rejection off this point. Buy signal right here. And then now it's just pushing up even higher. So, I mean, it just depends on where price goes from this point. Harris, I mean, this can ease, I mean, there's a couple different scenarios it can play out. This can push up, it can close above here, and then it can continue pushing higher. Or it can reverse from this point, reject off this point, come back down, provide a sell signal. And then if that happens and closes below here, then, we can take a sell. So there's a couple different scenarios that can play out, but I mean, it just really depends on how everything plays out. Because, like, for example, here, I showed you this buy example here, right? We had the buy, the rejection off here, the buy signal, and then it pushed up from that point. But it goes both ways. Like, for example, here, we have the rejection from this point. We have the sell signal right here. And then when price broke and closed past structure down here, it just dropped from that point as well, right? So it can go both ways. It's just price is within a zone right now. So you have to determine whether it breaks above the zone. So here's the key areas. The key areas that we're looking for where price needs to go for us to, determine whether it's going to be a buy or a sell. It's going to have to close above here, or it's going to have to close below here. So closes above here, it pushes up. Closes below here, it pushes down. So I wouldn't trade within this little range right here, because obviously you can see that it's just going to consolidate. I would wait for it to close below here or close above here to determine whether it's going to be a buy or a sell. But at this point, there's just not really much to look at, because a lot of this movement is like based off the volatility that came from that news Q&A right here. I mean, they're still speaking, so it's causing price to bounce around. But at this point, we're just waiting for stuff to retrace back so we can have an entry, because you don't want to enter a buy here and then it ends up retracing on you. That's probably going to be like the the worst feeling if you end up taking a trade like that, and then it ends up reversing on you completely. So today's been a pretty slow day so far, guys. I mean, for us overall, because normally we're taking a bunch of scalps, but there is news this morning, so obviously we weren't able to take those scalps. Aside from the one I took this morning. So if you guys saw my trade from this morning, I took this scalp right here, and that hit my TP over there. So I took that trade right there for TP. And then you can see right here on my chart, this is the one I took at what was like 6:11, I think. So I took this at 6:11 my time. It's 8:35 now. And yeah, so right here, or no, earlier than that, actually 5:11, I think. So I took that trade right there. And then this is the TP that it hit. I made 715 off that trade. So I mean, it's nothing crazy, but I mean, it's something. It's just a little scalp right there. Other than that, we're just waiting for some more scalps. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because price has to come down and test this structure on the zone. Until it comes down, there's not going to be any scalps available. All right, let me see if there's anything else here real quick. Yeah, definitely. Let me check real quick over here. Like boy is asking gold. So I analyzed gold already earlier. I'll pull it back up to see if there's actually, there's another question for you. John's asking, if we don't take some of your trades, what is the possibility that we will miss the winning ones and get the losing ones? I mean, who knows, John? If you have the worst luck in the world, that could happen. But obviously, we don't have that many losing trades. So, I mean, it happens to some people. Some people have bad luck and it just happens where they only take the losing trades. We've had people like that in the group for a while. That's why we always recommend that you take every trade or you apply the strategy yourself so that you can take as many trades as possible, because we have a high win rate, but it's not 100%, obviously, right? It just really depends on you as a trader. So like, for example, here, I'll just show the, David just messaged me. I'm shocked. What the fuck is happening here? Yeah, because David thought US 30 was going to drop. So much for order blocks, right? But no, David, this is what I was talking about, dude, because we talked about news. You remember, you were like, oh, news is all BS. I mean, it's BS most of the time, but they're actually saying positive things. That's what's causing the US 30 to push up. So I don't think news is all 100% BS. I mean, obviously it does cause manipulation in the market, but I think it caused it to push up because yesterday they had positive news as well, right? The Fed said positive news and it shot up from this point. Again, this morning, they said stuff that was positive and it pushed price up. So it does have an effect on the market. It's not always going to have a direct effect on the market, but obviously here it did play out like that. Yeah, no, definitely. David said it triggered every buy stop in the market. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's what happens. What was I going to show you guys again? Sorry, I forgot. I was going to show you guys something and I forgot what I was going to. Oh yeah, so John, he was asking about like, what's the probability of you guys hitting some losses if you miss some of my trades? So like, let me see if I could find the results here. The results from last year. Okay, so the results from last year right here, you can see that results from last year right here. So for indices, we had, here, let me just get this real quick. Yeah, for indices, obviously we don't have 100% win rate. It's not possible. Like it's literally possible for you to have 100% win rate. So like, for example, here we took 91 wins and 25 losses for a total of 116 trades. So with 116 trades, we divide our 90 wins by 116 and we have a 78.4 win rate, right? So it's a 78.4 win rate for our indices. So, I mean, there's only like 25 losses, John, if you were to, take all the trades, but there's no guarantee that you're going to hit all the wins, right? You're going to hit some losses. And if you have bad luck, you might just pick out all the losses out of all the wins. So there's no guarantee. I mean, it just depends on your luck. If you have good luck, then maybe you'll hit all the wins. If you have bad, you might just hit all the losses. So there's no concrete number to really answer your question, because your question is, if we don't take some of your trades, what is the possibility that we'll miss the winning ones and get the losing ones? That I don't know. I can't tell the future, and I can't really give like a specific time or date, when we're going to lose trades. So I don't know. Honestly, John, I can't really answer your question. But the win rate is still pretty high. The win rate's what was it, a 78.4? So if you take every single trade, obviously you should have no problem. But if you're being picky and choosy with your trades and you end up having like the worst luck picking all the bad trades, then that'll explain you know, what you can yield off that. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's an open-ended question. It's not really much that we can give you off that. But anyways, let me go back to gold real quick for leak boy. Let's see, so gold over here, yes, we analyzed this earlier. It's the same analysis as earlier, right? We identified this. We said that pricing needs to break and close past its structure. If it doesn't close below that structure, it's going to reverse back up. So it can either close below the structure and come back down, or it can reject off this point and push back up. So I'm not going to analyze this from scratch. I'll probably go back and analyze it later if I have time, but we've analyzed like 4 times today already. So if you want to go watch the analysis leak, just rewind the replay. And then you can see I analyzed this in the beginning. Actually. So if you want to go and just rewind it, you can rewind it and find it. But I'm going to look for other stuff right now as we continue on. So let me see if there's anything else here real quick. All right. Yeah, so Kimmy said US 30 is at an new all-time high. Let me go to US 30 real quick. Yeah, it is a new all-time high. So this is now there's a lot of other things that come into play now, because now that we're at a new all-time high, price can probably keep pushing up. So let's see. And this is why we look at sentiment, because it's important that you don't trade where everyone else is trading. So like, for example, here, this was the all-time high. And the thing with this is that a lot of people are trying to short the Dow 30. Here, 70% of people are short. A lot of people are trying to short the Dow 30. And look, there's more people shorting Dow 30. So I think the Dow is going to keep pushing up higher, actually. I'm thinking about putting in like a speculative buy and then just keep riding it up, because I think it's going to keep pushing up. In my perspective, I think it's going to keep pushing up. Still might retrace down a little bit, but I think overall it's going to keep pushing up and establish an even higher high towards the end of the week. I don't know. We'll see. Because the thing is, if there's like 74% of people short, they're not going to push price down. If they push price down, the market makers and institutions aren't going to make money. Well, I mean, they're going to make money, but not as much as they would if they would just push it up. Because if this many people are short, you're going to make more money doing the opposite of everyone, because all the retail traders are trying to short US 30 because they're like, oh, it's an all-time high. It has to drop, right? And that's the wrong way of thinking. Because like, for example, here, if you were to enter this for a sell right here, where do you think everyone's stop losses are going to be? Their stop losses are going to be around the same area. So I feel like there's going to be a big area of stop losses within this area right here. So let me see, I'm just going to mark this up right here. There's probably going to be a bunch of stop losses around this area right here. So I think if price ends up getting to this point right here, it's going to break right through it and it's going to shoot up because there's going to be a stop loss hunt. So like there's one right there. Let me see where the next one's going to be at. All right, so these areas over here are probably going to be the areas of where people place their stop losses. So this is what you can expect. If price ends up pushing up to these areas up here, price can continue pushing up even higher, because this is like where everyone's stop losses are. So just looking at this here, you know, price is probably going to screw around this area, just bounce back and forth. And then once this point, it's going to shoot up to the next point, and then it's going to shoot up to the next point. So it's a risky, it's pretty risky for us to really want to take these trades right now. It did hit an all-time high. So I think what's going to happen here is this will probably come down slightly, maybe retest the structure. And then I think it's going to keep pushing up. So I'm going to be bullish for the rest of the week, guys, for the most part, I think. As long as sentiment is still high for a short, which I think it's going to keep going up because people are going to keep thinking it's going to drop. Because this is everyone's psychology, right? If you're a retail trader, everyone's thinking the same thing. They think that price is going to drop because it's at an all-time high. They're like, oh, it's at an all-time high. It has to drop, right? Technically, it doesn't have to drop. It can keep pushing up higher and higher. And I'm obviously going to be looking for some buy scalps if I could find any. But it doesn't look like we're going to have any anytime soon because price is so far off. So like, check this out right here. See how it's dropping? we're going to wait for this to come down, test the structure and the pivot, and then we're going to take the buy. We're not just going to enter a buy, because if you enter a buy right now, you might get stopped out, because for example here, if well, actually this is the 1 hour chart. But anyways, even though this is the 1 hour chart, it's probably going to bounce around from this point. So let me just turn this on right here. All right, so there's no zones in this area. I just want to get any zones that are within this area over here, because if price comes down and there's a zone down here, I want to know where the zone's at so I can take that scalp. But other than that, I think this is going to continue pushing up higher and higher. I might even put a buy stop right here. I'm thinking about maybe putting like a buy stop at the high of this candle, so that when it does swing up, it'll automatically fill my order and then take me even higher. So, I mean, we'll see. I think it's going to keep pushing up, honestly. It's going to push down slightly. It'll probably retest the structure and one of these pivots. And then I think from that point, it's going to keep pushing up higher and higher. I might even take a smaller move. I might disregard the zone. And if it comes down and tests the pivot, I'm probably just going to take a buy off that. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know what I'm going to do when I decide to. I'm just going to set an alert here so that I know when price touches the K2 pivot. So I got an alert set up. When that happens, I'll be ready to take some buys in that direction. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I think it's going to be bullish for the rest of the week, at least until sentiment starts to drop. It's at 74%. I think once it goes down to 70, maybe lower than 70, then it'll probably start coming down a little bit. But overall, I think it's going to keep pushing up higher and higher. Actually, let me see where I can put my stop loss at. So if I was to enter right now, nah, it's too risky. Yeah, it's too risky. I would wait for it to come down a little bit before I take. So I could buy at a discount. So that's it for US 30 right there. Let me see if there's anything else over here as we continue. Yeah, nothing there really. Leaky Boy is asking, can you look at Euro odd? Might be wrong, but it looks like a decent buy. So let me check real quick. Let's go over here. So if you guys have any questions, this is probably the best time for you to ask questions, because we I don't know where you see a long for this, Leaky. It looks like a strong sell to me. Leaky, if you can send a chart, I mean, I could probably help you more, because I like, you're probably analyzing it. I don't know what your analysis would be for a long here. This is a strong downtrend. I just kind of want to see what your thought process was behind, identifying this as a long, because this is, I mean, this is a clear downtrend. It's like so strong down. I would not go against a trend this strong, right? Like, I don't know if you're just thinking that, oh, it's got to bounce because it's so low, but when it's like this strong, like this has been pushing down since like, since October 2020. So it's been in a strong downtrend since then. I'm not sure why you thought it was a buy, Leaky. But I kind of want to see what you were looking at, or like what made you think it was a buy. Because it's obviously been in a downtrend since October 2020, and it's still dropping even further. This is actually a sell on my end. For me, we have the momentum indicator. I'm sure it's a sell. So it started from way up here. We had the rejection off this point. We had the sell signal right here. We had price breaking close past structure right here. And then it dropped from that point, right? Same situation right here. It's the same exact setup. We have the breaking close past structure right here. And I anticipate it to drop even further, which it currently is. If you took this position here, this would have been a sell right there, and it's on its way to TP. So I'm not sure what you saw there, Leaky, because you said it was a long position. You were looking at it for a long, but it looks like a strong sell right here. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what you were looking at. I mean, you can go against the trend, but momentum here is so strong. I'm not sure what you were looking at here, Leaky. Like, because I want to see, maybe you see something that I don't see. Maybe I'm just missing something, but this looks like a strong sell from this point. Even from this point, price, when it came down from this structure right here, it's been strong down. Right. So I don't know. This is my analysis for Euro odd. I'm not sure how you got the buy for that. You can send it here. Just send it in your in the chat. You can just send your link to your trading view if you got it on there, and then we can kind of see what you were looking at. Yeah, because I'm not sure how you analyze things. I don't know if you're a counter trend trader or something like that. If you're a counter trend trader, yeah, it would make sense. But we'll see. I mean, for my analysis, this is what I see here. I look at US 30. Dang, it's pushing up even higher, like I mentioned. So yeah, I think US 30 is going to keep pushing up, guys. I don't think it's going to drop anytime soon. This is the 1 hour. Go back on the 10-minute. I'm just waiting for it to come down and test this pivot. If it comes down and tests the pivot, so if I just get a rejection off it, like for example, like this, like the entry I took last night, I just want a rejection off the pivot. I'll probably take that sell or that buy right now because it's in the other direction, like this. So see how this was pushing up super heavily? When I get a rejection off a pivot like this, obviously in order to get a valid entry, you need this right here, right? You need a rejection off a pivot in a structure. But if I know it's going to go up, when it rejects off that, I'll probably take a buy off that right there instead of waiting for like the full requirements, because it's not necessarily going to be required at that point. Let's see. King Carter said maybe it was oversold RSI. So that's a big misconception for Forex, guys. RSI doesn't work for Forex like that because Forex pairs can't be oversold or overbought. Let me just show you, for example, here. Because the thing is, they're not a limited quantity, like they're not a limited quantity asset. Like there's no market cap for it, like how like stocks work, right? If you're trading something like a commodity, like gold, or you're trading a stock it's like a limited asset, then the oversold and overbought will work. But for here, the oversold overbought doesn't work for Forex because it's just one currency that's paired against another currency. So, the euro odd can't be oversold because it's just, if it's going down, that just means that the Aussie dollar is stronger than the euro dollar, and it just keeps increasing, right? To do that, you just, like, for example, if we're looking at euro odd right here, we just pull up the euro index, and then we EXY, and we pair it with the Aussie index right here. So like, for example, here, if this continues to drop right here, so say if this drops and this continues to push up, right? This can go on forever. Like literally this can just keep pushing up and this can keep pushing down, and your odd will just keep pushing down further and further. The whole overbought and oversold function for RSI doesn't really work for Forex pairs because they can't be overbought or oversold. Like the Aussie dollar can just keep continuing to be strong, and the euro index or the euro dollar could just continue to keep being weak. And if that happens, it just keeps pushing that direction forever until they start to shift, right? Because if you look here, let me just go back and show you, like for example, right here, right? Let me just auto this. Right here, you can see where it was oversold, where your little oversold thing that you're looking at, it didn't even push up a little bit. It came up slightly, and then it just kept dropping farther and farther. So it doesn't necessarily work very accurately for Forex pairs. I think that's something that a lot of people get taught incorrectly. They think that everything will translate from stocks and like from commodities over to Forex, but Forex is a totally different asset. It doesn't necessarily respect that at all. Like for example, right here, look how this was overbought, right? It was overbought from here, and it still pushed up. So it was overbought from this point. And if you were to sell from this point, you being drawn down like 200 pips, because it just keeps going higher and higher. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to understand. Like, for example, here, see how it's oversold off this candle right here? If you were to buy off this point, you're going to draw down like 200 pips here as well. So it's something to keep in mind when you are, when you're using, that's why I don't use RSI at all. You can use RSI for divergence and stuff like that, but for the oversold, overbought, it doesn't necessarily work that way. Like if you were to compare it to something like gold, let me go to gold real quick. It works better for something like that. Or if you're trading a stock, or like trading US 30, or trading something that has, a limited quantity. So if I go to gold over here, you can see here that it doesn't have this, it has the same effect, but it works a lot better here. So like, for example, here, if you took this would have been a loss right there as well. But then right here, you can see that it actually kind of works a little better. So it's overbought, and then it finally drops. So just keep that in mind. I mean, actually, I wouldn't use this for XAU USD. I'd probably use it for like the actual gold future. But I mean, it doesn't work here. Like obviously, it's oversold here, and then it pushes up from that point. So it's just something to keep in mind, because I've seen a lot of people do that. They use RSI, they use the Chastics, they use MACD for like the oversold, overbought, and it doesn't necessarily work that way for Forex pairs. It does work for commodities and stocks and stuff that actually has a limited quantity, but for Forex, not necessarily. Oh yeah, no, it's fine, Carter. You know, I was just trying to let you know, because a lot of people don't realize that, and people still use that for their trades for Forex, and it just, you know, when it doesn't play out, they always wonder why it doesn't work, and the main reason for that is that it doesn't translate. Yeah, so Samurai said oversold signals are healthy in bear trend, overboughts, healthy in bull trends. I hate the term, it's so misleading. Yeah, it is a little misleading when looking at it. Like you can use that, but you have to tie it in with something else. It's not necessarily just, you know, look for a straight thing there. Sorry, I'm just going back up the chat real quick. It looks like I'm missing a lot of things here. There's a lot of stuff that you guys were talking about while I was analyzing Euro odd. But yeah, Leaky, if you can send that chart, you know, I can look at it. You know, otherwise, if you don't want me to look at it anymore, it's fine too. Anyways, let me see. Samurai said SPX inverted head and shoulder on your chart. So I know that you usually go on the higher time frame, right? Samurai, so let me go to S&P real quick. So I know you like to go on the higher time frame, so you're probably like on the daily or something, right? So if you were on the daily, I turn on the zones here. It looks like you were looking at the inverted head and shoulders. Personally, I don't see it there. Let me go on the 4 hour. Like I mentioned, I don't trade patterns at all. So okay, so here on the 1 hour, you can kind of see it a little better. So I could see this right here. If we were to draw some zones off here, let's see. So obviously this would be the head, and then these would be the shoulder right here. So if I just draw that right there, I mean, let me see if I could try to make this look a little decent. But like I mentioned, I don't trade patterns at all, so it's probably gonna look like shit, honestly. So let's see, we have the shoulder right here, the head, shoulder right there. Yeah, so I can see that right there. Samurai, I'm assuming this is what you saw right here. Yeah, exactly. So that looks pretty solid. It looks pretty solid for my shitty head and shoulders, right? Because I don't trade patterns at all. But anyways, let me see. Let me see what else we were looking at above here. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit and see if I missed anything. Wow, so US 30 is pushing up heavy. Look how heavy it's pushing up. That's what I was mentioning. When it reaches this point, it's probably going to keep pushing up even higher. I'm tempted to just enter a small position and just let it run, because I think at this point it's just going to keep pushing even higher. But the last thing I want to do is enter this position and then it ends up reversing on me. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not. There's no reason for me to take this like unnecessary risk. I'll just wait for an actual entry to appear, like a scalp, and then I'll take a look at it. But anyways, let me continue to look over here real quick. Emma said looking at SPX buy too. Yeah, so it does look like a decent buy. I mean, it lines up with US 30. So it's the same thing. We're just looking for it to come down, test the structure and the pivot, and then catch it as it rides back up. But you know, until then, there's just not really much for us to take on right here while we wait for this. I mean, if you guys want to take these speculative buys, you guys can. It's too risky for me, guys. I'm not trying to just throw money away, right? I want to take trades when I'm like 100% sure, because the last thing I want to do is enter a long position here. As soon as I enter a long, it swings down, right? It happens all the time. It'll swing down, and at that point, you're like, damn, I should have just waited. And I've been in that position way too many times for me to just hop into this trade just because. But yeah, this is where I mentioned like stop losses are probably going to be in this area for the people that are selling. So we're probably going to see some volatility push up from this point. Let's look at the sentiment real quick. 74% of people are short. Let's see where everyone else is at. Yeah, so it's still 74%. So it doesn't look like people have gone stopped out yet. Looks like the stop out area is probably going to be a little bit higher. It's probably going to be up here. And then I think once it reaches this point, it's just going to push up even higher because it's going to go on a stop loss hunt at that point. So just keep that in mind if you're trading US 30. You're probably going to see some crazy movements within the next hour or so, because we're getting towards mid market. It's already 9 a.m. my time. I think by 10 a.m. it's gonna swing down a little bit. So by 10 a.m. we're probably gonna see this swing down because people are gonna go to lunch. So we'll see this retrace down a little bit, and then at that point we could probably take some buys from there. So we'll wait. I have my alert set up for these pivots here. So when price comes down and tests the pivot, then I'll know, and then I can go ahead and take a look. But until then, we'll analyze everything else. Samurai said, "I'm waffling. Casey, don't let interfere with your stream. I eat, breathe, I sleep, breathe trading. Can't help myself learning stuff I see on charts." Yeah, no, same here, Samurai. You know, that's why I'm always open. I'm pretty open-minded to like analyze things. I don't just analyze Forex pairs. I analyze everything, like gold. I analyze indices, even though I don't even trade gold. I stopped trading gold a long time ago, but I still analyze it for you guys all the time because, you know, I like to analyze things. It's not like it's interesting to me to see how things play out. But anyways, let me continue down further over here. Salim said, "How would you scalp on the 1 minute for US 30? Easy, I wouldn't." Just kidding. So like for US 30 here, I mean, you can apply the same strategy, Salim, but you know, if you're trading on the 1 minute, you're going to start running into a lot of noise. Like if I go here on the 1 minute, you're going to run into a ton of noise here, but you could apply the same strategy that you're applying for the snipe strategy. It applies the same way, but you're going to get a lot of noise. So it's not something that I necessarily would recommend. Like, let me see, there's one entry right here, but let me rewind it. Yeah, it looks like if you took this entry here for a sell, you would have been burned pretty bad. Because you get like way too much noise on the 1 minute, Salim. I'm not sure like where you would put your stop loss TP either, because it just moves too fast. When I trade on the 1 minute, I just trade off the bigger move. So I mark up the move on the 10 minute, and then I'll scalp within that off the 1 minute. But I don't necessarily trade directly off the 1 minute because it's just too messy. So like, for example, here, if you were to take these trades, I mean, there's a couple entries here that you possibly could have taken. Let's see. So you could have taken this one right here, rejection off the pivot and structure. And then you probably go for like a quick move, like a really quick move, like maybe 20 pips, or I mean, 200 pips, 100 pips, 300 pips. It just depends on what your risk tolerance is. I'd probably go for like maybe 200 or 300 pips. So like, for example, there, 300 pips is right there. That would hit full TP. This right here probably would have, I mean, it's still technically active, I guess. Or no, you would have lost this one. So if you took this for a sell right here, you would have hit stop loss right there for 300 pips. So, I mean, if you're asking me personally, how would I trade on the 1 minute? I just wouldn't, because there's just too much noise on here. What I would do is I would go on the 10 minute and I would, sorry, let me go back there. I would go on the 10 minute, I would mark up the entry. So like here, I'll show you an example of what I would have done. So let me just find an entry here that looks decent, or I'll go to one that I took yesterday. So where's the one that I took yesterday? Right here, actually. This is the one that I took last night. So right here, this is what I would do. I would turn this on right here, and then I would set up the trade. So I would go and I replay this at this point, and then I would set up my short position here, because obviously we have the rejection off the pivot and structure. And then what I would do is I would go on the 1 minute and then I would scalp within that. So right there, we have the full position right here for the 10 minute. And then when I get little entries here, as price continues to, move along, because obviously the zones here are a little different. So as price comes up and then rejects off it, or actually, no, this is what I would do. Let me go back. I would use the K2SR stretch. So if you guys are wondering how I took those smaller scalps, or how I've been taking the smaller scalps, I draw these zones here. And then when price breaks the zones, I add on more positions. So we have the full position there. Let me just hide everything. It's too messy. So we have the full position here off the 10 minute. When price breaks and close past structure right here, I'll take a small scalp to the next structure. So I'll take a small scalp right there. It's only like 100 pips right there. So I would take that, and then I would have that position right there, right? Full TP. Once price breaks structure again down here, I do the same thing. I take another scalp right there, like a heavier lot size, but I only go for like 100 pips, something really small. And then right there, you hit another one. And then again down here, you just keep repeating it. It just keeps doing the same thing. Let me see, at this point down here, this would be the support. So at that point, I would probably take another short position right here. And then, obviously TP would be right there, right below at 100 pips. So with that said right there, you take that there, and then another or is it TP? Yeah. So as you can see right there, Salim, I showed you 3 different TPs that could have hit. When price, like we have the full TP here for 50 pips, and then you're scalping for another small entry right here for like 100 pips. And then again, right there, there's another one off this other entry down here for another 100 pips right there as well, right? So instead of just having your 50 pips here, you'd have 50, 600, 700, 800. So you have a total of 800 pips scalping within this area. And then once you're done with this trade, you just wait for the next one. You go back on the 10 minute, you look for another entry there. And then once you have the entry, you can go ahead and take another trade and then scalp within it. So that's how I would scalp on the 1 minute, but I wouldn't scalp on the 1 minute directly. I would only scalp within the actual move that I was following. So let's go back to US 30 real quick. Damn, I should have just took that buy, huh? I was thinking about taking that buy right here. Unfortunately, I didn't because it's getting around this area. But yeah, no, unfortunately, looks like we're not going to have any entries today, guys. Kind of sucks. Well, I mean, I had one TP this morning, so let's see. I'm already in profit. I'm only in profit about like 700 today, which is not bad. I can't really complain about that. So let me see. Yeah, I'm in profit on this account. I took a $700 profit this morning. So, I mean, I made some profit today. It's not as much as I would have wanted because we had such a big day yesterday, but I'm not trying to like force any trades, obviously. But I think it's going to continue to be bullish. I think your USD is going to keep pushing up further and further. This is where the stop losses are going to be placed for people who entered off this high right here. Because I'm sure you guys know how a lot of people trade, right? They see this all-time high and they're like, oh, I got to enter a short position right there. So they enter a sell limit. And then the way I was able to determine where these areas are is that people like to put their stop losses at whole numbers, right? So they put their stop loss right here at like 500. They get stopped out. Their next stop loss area is like 1,000. They just got stopped out right there as well, right? You guys got to think of things of like how retail traders trade. Like what do they think about? They think about putting their stop loss at these whole numbers. So that's 500 there. They got stopped out. 1,000 there. They got stopped out there again. The next level is going to be right here. 1,500. They get stopped out. 2,000. They get stopped out, right? It's you just keep thinking like where people are putting the stop loss, and that should be your target because you want to trade opposite people. So for example, people are taking sells here and you take a buy, my target's going to be at about 1,000 pips right here, which I should have taken, but unfortunately I didn't. And there's no reason for us to go back and like think about the what ifs. It just didn't happen. So just keep that in mind. I think price is going to keep pushing up to keep triggering these stop losses. Because there's still a lot of people short right now. There's still 74% of people short. So with that many people short, they're just going to keep pushing price higher and higher. And I want to take a buy, but then I also don't because it's just too risky of a trade. So that's it for that. Let me see if there's anything else here as we continue on. Yeah, definitely, Samurai. Samurai said, nice analysis, K2, teaching them how to fish. Yeah, I know, like, I prefer to teach people how to trade rather than give out signals, right? Because I want you guys to actually understand what you're doing, and I want you guys to actually learn. You know, I don't want, like, being a professional signal copier can only get you so far. I can tell you that. Because there's a lot of people in K2 who have been copying my signals and they do well, but they see these people locking in way more profits who are analyzing the strategies and, you know, applying them themselves. You know, you make way more profit like learning how to actually trade than to just copy my trades. Obviously, you can make profit just copying my trades because, you know, looking at the profits from yesterday, there was like basically any of the trades here that hit any of these trades here that were like US 30 from like yesterday morning, like these here, these are probably the ones that I called. So like, don't get me wrong, you can make profits copying my trades, like these US 30 trades. But if you want to trade everything else, like Owen over here, I took a bunch of buys yesterday. These are probably from my calls yesterday. These are probably my trades, you know, US 30. But if you want to trade other things like GU, AU, literally anything else, you can do it on your own. And that's what I'd prefer. I prefer people actually learn how to trade how I do, and then they just execute on their own. Because in the end, it's going to be more satisfying that way as well. Because you actually know what you're doing, and you actually analyze it on your own. So just you know, keep that in mind. Anyways, let me go back up real quick and see if I missed anything else. Here, let's see. Yeah, exactly. Samurai said, yeah, stops will be getting pinged now. Samurai said, EU only needs a 10 pip stop here for shorts. Take a 1 R to R, hold 50%, lower swing. Yeah, definitely. Let me go check out Euro USD real quick. I think we were looking at that earlier as well, right? So here's gold, guys. Like I mentioned, gold, if it doesn't break below here, it's going to push back up. And that's basically what's happening right there. So going back to EU over here. Yeah, this is a nice rejection off EU here as well. I think I analyzed this for someone earlier. You know, just looking at EU here, we have a bearish bias because the most recent signal was a sell. But you can see here we have a rejection off this point. So if this closes like this with rejection and this this green candle right here, if it's followed by a buy signal at some point here, then that would give me confirmation that price is going to push up to the next zone right here. Kind of similar to what happened over here, right? Rejection off the zone, buy signal, push up to the next zone over here. Same thing that I'm looking for right here. You know, rejection, buy signal if it does appear, and then up to the next zone right there. So that's basically what I see happening for Euro USD. Hey, morning, Vishnu. Yeah, Samurai said a lot of traders would have been selling previous highs. They could stop hunt. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking too for Euro USD right here. And look at it keep pushing higher. This is going to be key. I mean, we could be in this trade and we could be risking it, but I'd rather just watch it from a distance because I don't want to risk my own money off a trade that I'm not 100% about. Jazz said buy scalp on DAX. So let me pull up DAX real quick. I don't see anything here, Jazz. Let me see. Let me just check this real quick, make sure my zones are proper. Yeah, so this is the upper zone right here. I don't see any entry here just yet. Yeah, Jazz, I don't see anything just yet. Maybe if this ends up spiking down. So if we get a wick rejection off the pivot in the structure right here, then we could have an entry, but I don't really see anything at this specific point in time. I think all of the indices are kind of pushed up right now. See, even for US 30, hasn't even come down and test the pivot in a long time. Let's see if there's anything else here real quick. City said EN short in an hour. Let me check real quick. EN. It's currently within a zone right now, City. So I'm not sure if there would be here, let me just redraw the zones for you guys, see if there's anything new that's transpired since, oh, fuck, I closed the wrong indicator. Let me just, there we go. Like that. Yeah, so just looking at EN right here, we have the zones right here. I'm going to line them up for you guys. So we have one right here. We have one right there. We have one there, and right there. And then we just need to get the lower one to see where the floor is at. So nothing on the 8 hour, nothing on the daily. Here we are with the weekly. So for the weekly right here, looks like price is within a zone. So below that, let me see if there's another one down here. Yeah, City. So looking at Euro NZD, it's currently within a zone. So I wouldn't take this trade just yet. I would have to confirm that it closes below the zone. So if it closes below this zone right here, then yeah, we could take that short position. But until then, you know, price can like reject off any point right here. It can reject off here, reject off here, like anywhere around this area it can reject off. But I wouldn't take this position until it closes below here for that confirmation. Because if it closes below there, then we have a big drop that's available, because the next zone is until down here for the weekly support. So if that's the case, this is like 1,000 pip drop. It's probably not going to drop 1,000 pips. Don't get me wrong, but or maybe it could. Let's see how far this drop was from here. I mean, nearly dropped 500 pips here. So I don't see why it wouldn't drop another 500 pips here if it does close below this structure, because it'll give that confirmation, right? So I'll wait for that, but there's no entry available for Euro NZD on my end just yet, City. Let's see, Jazz City said a buy stop for DAX. I didn't see any entry there, Jazz. So I'm not sure what you were looking at, but yeah, I don't see a scalp here on the 10-minute. So let me go back to US 30 real quick. Nothing there. All right, so let me continue on over here real quick. Kirsten said 4-hour time frame on S&P 500, potential buy to all-time high. Can you confirm? So let's go to S&P real quick. On the 4-hour. So let's see. Yeah, possibly, Kirsten. You know, like I was mentioning for S&P here, I wouldn't buy it until it closes above this structure here, because this can just range within this area. It can just go sideways. But if it does close above here, then yeah, you know, you can take that buy to the next all-time high over here. But I wouldn't necessarily just buy just to buy. You know, like there would have to be an entry there available for me to want to take that buy. But I personally wouldn't wait. I would wait until it closes above this structure, if not this structure up here, because this would actually be a better case. Because if you waited for it to close above here, you would have confirmation right here when it closed here previously. And it would be that same move up to the all-time high right there, like you mentioned, right? So that's where I would wait, because the last thing you want to do is enter a trade and then it ends up going the opposite way, right? If you enter right here and it just reverses on you, that could happen. There's no guarantee that it won't happen, especially after it's been pushing up this heavily. Like this is a huge candle right here. Since it's been pushing up so heavily, it can possibly drop at any point. So just keep that in mind. If you do have an entry, then yeah, take the buy. But I would wait for it to close above here or above here before you decide to take that. All right, so that's it for S&P. Let me see what else we got over here real quick. Here, let me see what else we missed over here real quick. Matt said Nasdaq 100 10-minute scalp. So let me go on the 10-minute for Nasdaq real quick. So I don't know if you said this like about 20 minutes ago or maybe 40 minutes ago, Matt, but if you did see that, then yeah, this would have been the entry right here. So this would have been an entry right here off this. And if you took this long position here, it looks like you might have hit TP or almost there. Yeah, actually you would have hit TP 250, I think. I think the sweet spot for this was like 250 or something like that, right? So unfortunately, we missed this trade. That was about 40 minutes ago. I wasn't looking at the Nasdaq, but this would have been the scalp right here. So nice catch off that, Matt, if you ended up taking that trade. But this would have been the entry. We had the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. You ended the long position on the close of that candle, and then obviously it went straight to TP right here. So it's a nice move. It was it moved pretty quick. I'm not sure if your TP's 250 or 500. If it was 500, it looks like you're still technically active right now. So I'm not sure what the sweet spot is because I don't necessarily trade Nasdaq at all. But depending if it was 250 or 500, this would be the case. So nice catch off that, Matt, if you ended up catching that trade. Unfortunately, I missed it. John said, so can you make a pending order now? What are the numbers for entry stop loss? Sorry, John, I don't even know what you're talking about. So if you guys have questions, because you guys can see that these chats, I kind of get to them a little late. Whenever you have a question, make sure to put the pair on your question so that I can look at it. Because John, your question says, so can we make it pending order now? What's the number so we can use? Yeah, honestly, I don't know what you are referring to in that message. Here, let me see. Yeah, David made a recommendation there. Sorry, guys. I just missed a bunch of these messages here as I was going up from the old messages. So I missed everything that you said up over here, Samurai, with regard to your bib or fib. 3690. I think you were referring to maybe S&P, I'm assuming. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted to draw the fib off the S&P right here, let me see. I personally don't use the fibs. I know some of you guys do, but I don't. This tool right here. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would line up with that right there. Honestly, I don't use a fib, so I wouldn't necessarily know what to look at right here. I'm not sure if you're even referring to this one, Samurai. I might be off. Let's see. All right, guys, 1 second. I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. So my bad, I had to step out real quick. Let's see. So we're just looking at S&P. Yeah, nothing there. Let me see if there's anything else here as we continue on. Let's see. Ricardo said, how do you get the zones on the 30-minute when it's at the highest high on US 30? Ricardo, those aren't zones specifically. I was just showing the where people are placing their stop losses from this point. Yeah, so just going back to what I drew over here, guys. So like, sorry, let me just take this off. what I was doing over here was I was indicating that, you know, when people enter, when they see all-time high, a lot of people have sell limits here. So they have their sell limit here, and people like to put their stop losses at these whole numbers, like 500 right there, and they hit their stop loss, 1,000 hit their stop loss, 1,500, another stop loss there, 1,200, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where I got those zones right there. These aren't actual zones. They're just where I've indicated where the stop losses probably are at. You know, it's probably better if I just use a horizontal line, right, instead of that, because this probably would confuse you a little bit if, you know, if that's the case. So I'll just draw the stop loss areas here, just so you guys can see, you know, what I've indicated where, because usually if you know where the stop losses are, you can determine, you know, if there's going to be a stop loss hunt going on, or if that's what's causing the push. So like again, right here, another push right there. So this is probably where everyone's stop losses are. Right there. Again, right there. And then again, right there. So I'm just marking up. So like whoever's short right now, this is where they're getting stopped out from, right? Because the reason we know people are short is because the IG sentiment here shows that, wow, there's more shorts that are just keep stacking up. I think I'm going to enter a buy. I want to enter a buy now. I'm going to enter a small buy. It's a standard lot. Because if people keep entering shorts, it's like, dude, it's just going to keep pushing up higher and higher. All right, so I took a long position right here. My stop loss is going to be, here, let me see. Yeah, I took a position right here. I'm going to have a kind of wide stop loss down here, maybe below this structure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, seems legit, right? Let's go for a 1,000 pip move right here. I'm currently in profit right now. I took a small lot size, nothing crazy, just enough to get like my feet wet and see what's good. Well, I'm currently in profit like 20 bucks. I just wanted to be involved in this trade because I wanted to see everyone get stopped out. All these short traders right here. I want to see how this plays out. So I'm only risking like a couple $100 off this trade. I'm currently in profit 50 bucks right now. You can see right there. I took that buy right there. Profit 70 bucks, 80 bucks, 100 bucks. Money, money, money. So let's see how that plays out. So I'm going to set up my CP stop loss right there. I'm currently in profit right here. And this is where you guys should not fall in these traps, right? Don't trade where everyone else is trading. Everyone's trading longs. I mean, everyone's trading short, so you go long. But you guys see there, I took that position right there. I'm going to set my TP stop loss right here. So my stop loss is going to be, what's the price difference? Let me check real quick. 34. Wow, the price difference is kind of big right now for, let me see, 318.31 minus 318.49. It's like a 20 pip difference. Okay, so it's a little different right now. So this is going to be 317.14. So I'm just going to change it off by like 20 pips, something like that. See how this is spiking up right here? It triggered all these stop losses that are right here. So now it's pushing up higher and higher. So when it reaches this point right here, it's going to push up again. It's going to have another bullish move. So yeah, I'm in profit 200 bucks now. 159, 139. There we go. So you guys can see here that this analysis works, guys. It's like, don't trade where everyone else is trading. If you guys just like think logically, you don't want to trade where everybody's trading. Let me see where my TP is going to be. 319. Let's put it a little closer. Cool. I'm in profit 200 bucks now. 219. It's in a stop loss hunt, guys. So hopefully you guys hopped into that. The stop loss hunt. I'm in profit 169. It's going up to like 200 something. Yeah, there we go. 189, 179. Look at the stop loss hunt right here. When it reaches this point right here, check that out. as it reaches this point, you're going to see it shoot up pretty quick. Because I'm sure this is going to be a big area of stop losses right here. But we'll see. I don't know. Let's see what the sentiment's looking like right now. Wow, people are still entering shorts. Come on, bro. Like, these people are freaking crazy. Like, it's going it's going against you, and you're just trying to short it. Obviously, it's going to keep pushing up. Well, whatever. I don't care. I'm already in profit, so I'm not really. I don't really care about it at all. I'm probably 149 right here. I'm thinking about moving my. Nah, I'm gonna hold on to it. I was thinking about moving my stop loss in profit, but I'm just gonna hold on to it. I'm in profit about 250 now. Nice. It's not bad, right? For a few seconds, I just hopped into it because I knew it was gonna go up. Like, I know this is gonna go up. It's just how far can it go up, right? And the thing is, if people keep jumping in for shorts, it's gonna keep pushing up. There's just no, because as people enter these positions, they're just gonna keep triggering more stop losses as they enter for a short position. But that doesn't really concern me. It just concerns me how much profit I'm making off this. So unfortunately for the people who are short, you're going to get stopped out. It's going to hit liquidity as it gets to these points. Well, it already hit liquidity here. You guys can see when it hit this this stop loss point right here that I marked up, liquidity push up, right? Hit this point right here, liquidity push up. Again, right here, some more liquidity. So just keep that in mind. Nice. I'm in profit $300 now. Oh man, right there. 309. Let's go. It's looking pretty nice right here. There we go. Yeah, David's TP is at 31,895. See that real quick on mine. My TP is a little higher, bro. My TP is at 31,900. Because we're gonna hit liquidity when it hits right here, bro. I think when it passes this stop loss point right here, where all the stop losses are, it's gonna hit liquidity and push up even higher. So you have it a little lower. Maybe I should just lower mine. I'll be safe like David over here. David's usually pretty on point with his pricing. So let me see what David said over here real quick. Let me just go back to this. I trust David. So 31895. All right, David, 31895. All right, I moved it in a little closer. Just got to wait for it to hit that point. Hits that point, hit the liquidity. Say goodbye to these short sellers. Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking about just exiting my position. I'm already at 300. Am I satisfied? Yeah, I'm satisfied. All right, I'm out. If you guys can hold on to it if you want, but like I said, that was a speculative trade. I wasn't really, I already knew the stop losses were going to be in that area, so that's why I exited. So here's my trades for today. I should have just took a 2 lot. I don't know why I took a 1 lot. I just wasn't 100% confident. But yeah, so today I took this trade at about 6 a.m. about 3 hours ago. So I took this at 6 a.m. I made 715. I took this trade just now with the guys, smaller lot size for 259. So for the day, I mean, I'm not up that much. I'm up okay. But who could complain, right? 715 plus 259. I mean, I'm up about $1,000 for today. I'm not really complaining. And then I have 2 FTML accounts of times 2. I'm actually up like nearly 2,000. All in my personal too. So let me check my personal account. Let's see, how much did I make on my personal account? Oh, nice. Not bad. All right, cool. So I made quite a bit off this. Let me see. Wait, what the heck? Oh, that's so lame. This most recent one didn't fill on my personal account. This one did, but this one didn't. So I'm like about 2,000 in profit for the day. Obviously you guys saw my trades from this morning. Obviously I wish we could have taken more scalps, but that's pretty much it for the most part. It's probably gonna push up, but I exited. I pulled out in profit already. I made 259 off that. total of 1,000 for that account, 2,000 for both the FTMO account, and then a couple $100 on my personal. So that looks, CT said, looks like a buy trap for the FOMOs to me. Yeah, no, that's why I exited CT, because I wasn't trying to mess with it. Nice. Jonathan said he locked in 119 off that speculative buy. So congrats to you guys who followed me off that trade. Made some profit. But yeah, anyways, I think once it reaches this point, we'll see if liquidity pushes it up. If not, then we'll see. Yeah, Jonathan said, great call, Shawn. Yeah, no problem, bro. Glad to see you locked in some profit off that with me. Let me scroll up real quick, see if I missed anything else. Gotcha. So Samurai said EU is close to my stops here. It needs to drop. My stops will get pinged. But hey, you can't win them all. Exactly, right? So Samurai gets it. You know, that's what you guys need to understand. You guys can't win every single trade. But as long as you have you know, more wins than losses, you should be pretty solid. I'm just gonna skip that real quick. All right, yeah. So if you guys have questions, I mean, put them in the YouTube chat right now. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna log off soon because I'm just getting like restless, like looking for these freaking entries that haven't came up yet. Because I know if I keep staring at the charts, I'm gonna want to force some trades, just like I did right here. This was a forced trade. There was no entry that was available there, but I took it because we've been waiting all day and I wanted to take a trade. So I took that trade, made some profit, pulled out, and then that's that. So if price ends up pushing up higher right here, it'll probably hit some liquidity. I think some people probably put their stop loss a little higher above that point. So it's probably around this area. Once it triggers it, it's just going to shoot up to that next one. CT said US 30 is your baby though, so I trust you. Yeah, CT, for like, I don't know. I've been trading a US 30 for like every day now for like the past year. So it, I think I know how to read it now, obviously. So if I see something and I feel that it's a good trade, I'll take it. So that's kind of what I see happening right here. This is probably going to be a liquidity move once it passes through here, hits stop loss, and then just shoots up. But we'll see how that plays out. Let me check the chat to see if there's anything else that I missed. So guys, if you guys asked the question and I missed it, just put it in the chat again. Sorry, because there's a bunch of questions here. So I might have missed your question if you guys put something there and I skipped over it. So let me see. All right. Let's see. CT said I'm scalping gold, lower chart until, let me check. CT sent me his chart over here. Nice. So Jeremy locked in some profit this morning. Let me show you guys real quick. Here's the premium group right here. Nice. So Jeremy took these scalps on his own. He took a few scalps during London session. Obviously, he took these on his own because I don't trade during London session. He locked in pretty nice $100 in profit, nearly $100. So congrats with that, Jeremy. Bruno here is looking for this sell off gold. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. Hopefully it plays out for you too, Varun. Let me see, CT. Nice. CT just got his second funded account. Congrats, bro. So he just passed his verification right there. He only traded 3 days. So he needs to take some pending trades for the next couple of days. And then he could, yeah, he can get that second funded account. Congrats, CT. It's awesome, dude. I should be working on my other one. I lost one of my accounts because I took that trade during MLK. So if you guys are familiar with like the holidays and stuff, you can't trade US 30 after like 10:30. If you have any active positions, they take your account away for violating one of their rules. It's a dumb rule, but whatever. I still have my other account, so I need to work on that third account again. So just looking at this here, this is CT's markup for gold right here. He's looking for a sell. Rejection off this structure right here on the what is this, the 2 hour? So let me go on the 2 hour real quick. I'll just analyze it on my own to see what CT was looking at. So yeah, here's US 30, guys, that we were just looking at. See how it's breaking above that structure? It's gonna push up even higher, I think. But anyways, let's go back to gold real quick. I'm just going to look at what CT was looking at here. I think he was on the 2-hour right here, right? 2-hour, because you're on that 120 time. All right, so on CT's chart over here, he marked that up. Let me go to mine over here real quick. Let's take this off. Yeah, lines up perfectly. So CT is identifying this as a rejection point right here. Take that off, turn on my momentum indicator, and we do have the sell signal there. So what I would want to do is I would want to get this higher zone right here actually to identify where the move started, right? So we take this off the chart. Looking at this here, we have the rejection off this point. Sell signal. Close below here. And then at that point, short position. So yeah, that's pretty much what we see happening here for the most part. And that's kind of what CT sees as well. I mean, this wouldn't be the entry, but I mean, this is what he's identifying. He's identifying this as this is basically a break and retest. Broke structure, retested, and now it's going to come back down. So that's kind of what we see happening for gold right here. I did analyze it on the higher time frame. Let me check real quick. Gold, where's gold at? Right there. So yeah, it was like I was mentioning here. I was looking for that sell, but I would want price to close below the structure before taking that trade. So I wouldn't take it until it comes down, but like how CT analyzed it, I think that's what's going to happen at this point. It's probably going to, this closes in about 17 minutes. It rejected off this point, and then odds are it's going to come back down. So we'll see how that plays out. I do agree with your analysis there, CT. Looks good right there. All right, so let's see. There's still 75% of people short on US 30. So with that said, this is probably going to keep pushing up. I'm tempted to like enter another one, but it's pretty overextended at this point. All right, so that's it for US 30. Let me see the chat real quick to see if I missed anything else. Vinicius said US 30 IG still 75% short, moving TP to 39,500. Yeah, it looked. Oh man, it's funny. Because like now that you guys have seen my analysis off this, you guys are probably laughing because there's so many people that are short here. Like I just find this funny because people are so short here and they think that price is going to drop, but it's just going to keep pushing up because they're doing the opposite of the retail traders. This is how they would, this is how people lose at trading. You guys can't trade like everyone else. If you trade like everyone else, you're just going to keep getting kicked out, right? So like, yeah, I mean, I feel bad for whoever's shorting, but I think this is going to keep pushing up and they're just going to keep getting stopped out until the sentiment gets lower. I mean, this is what could happen here. This can easily come back down slightly because what they want to do is they want to trick you guys, right? They want to trick the retail trader. They want people to, they want to push price down slightly from this point. This is what might happen. They push it down slightly. And then what happens from that point, more short sellers into the market. This will go up to like 80%. Once it's 80%, what happens from that point? Skyrocket and stop everyone out. So it's like, guys, you guys got to think of this from a logical perspective, right? Because a lot of people think of it only one way. They're like, oh, it's at an all-time high. It has to drop. It's probably not going to drop. It's going to keep going up higher because there's so many short sellers. The institutions and market makers don't make money when these people win. When you win, they don't make money. When you lose, they make money. So you want to do the opposite of what everyone else here is doing. So as this increases, this number keeps going up higher and higher. Just keep buying, and then do the opposite because they're going to get stopped out. I mean, obviously, you're going to get kicked out of some trades if your stop loss is too tight. But if you can hang on, odds are it's going to keep pushing higher and higher. So let's see. The next point of, well, 32,000 is going to be the next very high point, right? That's going to be obviously the next quarter point. So this would be this would pretty much be, what's going to be going on from there. CT said there are no sellers, just buyers using sell stops as liquidity for more movement up. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, people probably either sell stop. I mean, they're sell stops in certain areas for when it comes down. So if it does come down, it's probably going to spike down a little bit. Like for example here, if people end up, if they push price down right here, it's probably going to trigger some sell stops and it's going to push it down like lower and lower. But I think overall it's going to be bullish, especially with the sentiment so high. But you know, like I mentioned, it's overextended, guys. This is the 1 hour candle. So from this morning, like let's see, from this morning, market opened right here. It's pushed up nearly 5,000 pips. It's going to have to come down at some point, right? So just keep that in mind, guys. It's not always going to go straight up, but you know, it's going to go up eventually. So right here, it's pushed up nearly 5,000 points. It's going to push down slightly before it comes back up. So Vinicius, I would probably move your stop loss and profit just in case, because this can easily swing down. I think overall it's going to push up, but I think right now it's been pushing up way too long. Like look at this right here. The last time it pushed up like that on the 22nd, which was Monday. So on Monday when the Fed spoke, it pushed up about like 4,000 pips, right? At 4,000 pips, it came back down. But then again over here, it came right back up. So for example here, this can come up, come down slightly, and then come back up, right? So I would at least move your stop loss and profit, because there's no guarantee it's going to keep pushing up higher and higher before it comes down. It has to come down at some point. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here to look at before we call it a day. So I'm going to skip through the certain questions here. So let's see. Matt said 1140 EST Nasdaq 100. I'll pull up Nasdaq for you guys real quick. So Nasdaq over here. I don't really see an inch. Oh, okay, yeah. So this was the entry we were talking about earlier. Matt, so you said 40 minutes. Yeah. So you took the same exact entry that I marked up right here at the 40. You had it where it rejected off the pivot and structure. You took that for long position and you hit full TP off that. So nice work off that trade. Let me see if there's anything else for me to look at before I continue on. Let's see. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So Vinicius, he bought like way earlier. Okay, nice. Yeah, no, so you're good then, Vinicius. You're pretty much set for the most part. You've already identified that that you know where price is going to go. So you're pretty much good to go. Billionaire Mindset said negative news just came out, 1.9 trillion debt. So let's see if that affected US 30 at all. Yeah, so it's starting to drop a little bit. I think it's starting to lose its steam. So good thing I exited in profit already. Yeah, it's starting to lose its steam, but as it comes back down and it comes off this thing, I'm going to enter for another buy. So this is actually a good thing. I want it to pull back a little bit so that we can start to catch some scalps if it does end up closing like that. But I think that's it for the chat here. If you guys have any other questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to look at the Forex pairs real quick. I'm going to see if there's any entries. If there's any entries, I'll call them for you guys in the premium. Otherwise, I think we will be done for the session today. So today's session was a little slow because of, the heavy news this morning. We weren't really looking to take any unnecessary risk. Here's GJ. GJ has another buy entry here actually available. Let me just delete this. I'm going to reanalyze GJ real quick because looks like there might be some. I'm just going to delete this, delete this, delete this. I think everything down here is fine. Yeah, those zones down there are cool. I'm going to go in the higher time frame to identify any higher zones here. Nothing on the daily. Here we are on the weekly. So looking at the weekly right here, it's currently within a zone. So no entry for odd JPY right here. Let me turn this off right here. See if there's anything here. Odd NZD. No entry there. I'm just going to zoom through these quickly, guys, because I don't really see very many entries anyways. So I don't want to waste your guys' time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm just going to look for some entries here. If I don't see anything, then we're probably going to call it a day. Weekly. All right, so nothing there for AUD USD, CAD CHF. There's possibly an entry right here, actually. See the higher zones. Let's see. All right, so the next zone is actually super far off. It's like way over here. Well, not super far off, but it's pretty far off. All right, going back to the 4 hour right here. Yeah, I wouldn't take this trade because even if we were to take this trade right here, it's only got about a 25 pip move off that CAD JPY over here. All right. Looking off that right there, see if there's anything here. Yeah, so it's actually within a zone right now. So no entry off CAD JPY. Go over to CHF JPY, nothing there. I'm going to zoom through these pretty quickly, guys, because, oh, man, I should have called this trade here for a late entry. Unfortunately, I missed it. It was the euro odd that I was analyzing earlier. I was going to put a sell stop there so we can trigger that order and drop it, but unfortunately, it already dropped. So we missed that trade there. Other than that, so this was a nice drop here for EG. That was one that we looked at yesterday. Euro JPY, Euro NZD. Yeah, no entry there. Euro USD. I don't see anything there either. GA. GA would have been all right if there wasn't that zone right there. It's too close. It's only like 3 pips away. It's not really worth it. The risk for that GJ, nothing there. GN. Damn, I wish I took that GN. This is the one that you took earlier, right? I forgot who called it. I think it might have been City or someone else. I know City and Samurai, we were looking at that earlier. So that GN hit full TP. Yeah, it looks like the Forex market is pretty stale right now. I mean, there's some entries that are available, but there's also NZD news coming up in about 2 hours or 1 hour. So it's not something that I really want to mess with. So no entries here for Forex. Other than that, let me see if there's any other questions here for the YouTube so I can answer your guys' questions before I log off for the day. I do have a bunch of mentoring sessions today. So if you guys want to sit in, just make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that YouTube will let you know when I go live. Because I generally don't post the links for the live sessions. So, I mean, for the mentoring session. So if you guys want to sit in on them, you guys are more than welcome. I just won't be posting the links for that. So that's it for the Forex pairs. The only entry here that was really available was EA, but it's already in profit. So I'm not going to call. It's too late. It's in profit 30 pips already. Too late for that. And then same with GN over here. It already hit full TP. So I'm not going to call that either. Going back to US 30, nothing here. Looks like once it pushes up a little higher, it'll push for some liquidity. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see how this, plays out. All right, CT sent me his chart for US 30. Here, let me see. I don't see it on mine, CT. I'm not sure you sent it. Unless my Telegram is not loading. Let me update it real quick. There we go. Installing the update. Yeah, I don't see your chart here, CT, for US 30. Not sure. Okay, I see it now. There we go. So yeah, he marked up that that high right there on the 10-minute. So do you think it's going to go up, CT, or do you think it's going to go down? Nice to see using the VPVR here, the volume indicator. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, looking at that, so he has the actually, let me pull that up again. He has the his resistance lined up at 31,896, 31,896. Okay, so it's kind of lined up with mine right here. It's lined up at that previous high. So what do you think that'd be good for a buy stop right there? I mean, that could be pretty solid, honestly. Let's see, CT sent me another one right here. Let's see. Is this a different chart? Oh, no, it's the same one. Yeah, you think about putting a buy stop there? That'd actually be pretty decent. If you put a buy stop there, it'll fill the liquidity. Yeah, for a small move, I guess. Check this real quick. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So CT said impulse, retrace, impulse, long. So I could see that too. I could definitely see that happening. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, it'll probably retrace off here. This is probably what will happen. Retrace, back up. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, otherwise, I think that's about it for today. Let me see if there's anything else here for me to look at before we continue on. Salim said DAX coming down to create a valid scalp. Never mind. Jeremy said time frame 10. Yeah, I usually scalp on the 10-minute time frame, but this is just on the 1 hour right now because we're just analyzing it from the bigger move. But looking at US 30 right here on the 10-minute, there really isn't much to look at. We want this to come down and test the structure in the zone, but there are no zones up here. So even if we did get price to come down and test the structure, there would be no entry for a buy there. Go to 1 minute for levels. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so let me go over here real quick. Let's go to US 30. I'm just going to a clean chart, so I don't have everything on there. So delete everything off there. Take this off, Tron K2SR, 1 minute, 1 second. So looking at this here, all right, so I'm going to take this off the chart. And here are the zones for the 1 minute. I'm just going to draw these real quick. So you guys can see how easy it is to draw these zones once you have them. Like literally just turn on the indicator, you trace over your zones, and then you're good to go. This way it takes out all the guesswork from identifying where the zones are. All right, so just looking at this here on the 1 minute, CT mentioned, yeah, it looks like price is coming down slightly off here. 1 minute. Yeah, this is the 1 minute, right? The 1 minute chart right here. Here, let me see. So these are the zones here. It looks like, I mean, it's respecting the zones pretty nicely. Like when it came down from here, it comes up, retest the zone, come back up, retest the zone, come back up, retest. And it just keeps coming. So at this point, it'll probably come down, retest the zone, and then shoot back up, which is actually not that far of a drop. Let's see. It's only about 500 pips. So it's actually pretty solid. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this, ends up playing out at that point. But otherwise, other than that, guys, I think that's about it. I don't see any other questions here. So if you guys have any other questions, I mean, feel free to put them in the YouTube chat. Otherwise, I'm going to log off for a bit, probably head to the gym, and then come back for Asia session to wrap up this trading week. Yeah, hopefully we have some more because I definitely want to take a couple more off this. So I think that's it, guys. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out on Telegram. I have about 22 messages here to get to. And then I have about, let me check my emails. I'm scared to check my emails. I got about 126 emails to get to, guys. So yeah, I got a ton of emails to get through and I got to respond to everybody. So I'm going to get to that first. I'm going to respond to everybody on Telegram, respond to everybody on the email. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out on Telegram or email, and I can get over to you. Hold up, let me just see what CT mentioned here. So CT said, now go back to the 10 with those levels. Okay, solid. Yeah, no, definitely. I can see that right here, CT. So it actually lines up perfectly. Like if it comes down to here, now we have levels on the 10 minute that we're actually on the 1 minute, which will help with our entries here. Wow. Okay. So thanks for that tip, CT. I'm probably going to keep watching this. If we have another scalp entry that appears somewhere around here, then I'm gonna take those. But other than that, I'm probably gonna hold off until we can get something. Funky, I'm not sure. Let me check my calendar. Check my phone real quick. So I think I have a session later today. Let me see. Let me check. So I might have a session later today at 2. If not at 2, I have another session today at 4. So I got a session at 4 with Joey and the guys, Joey, Kyle, and Billy. And then I think later tonight I have a session with who I have a session with? I forgot. I gotta add them to the list. Yeah, anyways, I got like 3 sessions today, guys. So I got like a session at 4. I think I might have a session at 2, and then I have another session at 6. And then I have smaller sessions in between with other people too. So if you guys want to sit in on that, just make sure to like the stream, follow the YouTube, and turn on your notifications so that YouTube knows that you want to watch my videos. Because if YouTube doesn't know that you want to watch my videos, they're not going to send you the email letting you know that I went live. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, John, it's just a waiting game. We're waiting for it to come down, test the pivot and the structure right here. And then when that happens, we're going to take that buy. Yeah, CT. That's exactly what I'm waiting for here. John said, do we need to attend all sessions for scalping, or do we only need one? So John, I normally just scalp in the morning. During the mentoring sessions, I'm just teaching people. So I'm teaching K2 members with one-on-one sessions. So generally, if you have any questions with trading, they probably have the same questions. So a lot of people just go back and watch all of my my mentoring sessions, and then they just learn from there. Because I know some people don't like to ask questions on here, but here, let me just show you real quick. So this is a YouTube channel. If you guys want to go back and watch any of my past live streams, just click on past live streams right here. And then you'll see that I have all my mentoring sessions recorded here. Like literally every time I go live, it's going to be here on the past live sessions. And you can see that I go live about like 3 to 5 times a day. So I have a lot of live sessions here if you guys ever want to watch. But if you guys want to sit in on any mentoring sessions, they're going to be these green ones. My mentoring sessions are these green ones here. The green image, the white ones are going to be the daily trading sessions, like every morning. And then the blue ones are going to be the Sunday sessions where I cover the weekly chart analysis. So if you guys ever want to go back and watch any of the old sessions, a lot of people have just gone back and watched every mentoring session, and they found a lot of value there because I answer a lot of questions that a lot of new traders have. So if you want to go back and watch, these are pretty short. This is like 10 minutes. This is like an hour. This is like 30 minutes. So they're a lot quicker than these live sessions. So if you guys ever want to go back and rewatch them, there's like hundreds of videos here for you guys to go back and watch. But yeah, guys, I think that's about it for now. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me on Telegram or email. Otherwise, I'm just going to take a break for right now. I'm probably going to hit the gym for a bit and then chill out until Asia session and the mentoring sessions later on today. So until then, guys, thanks for showing up. Hopefully you guys made some profits with me today off those US 30 calls. I'll just show you guys my profits again. So right here, I took the 2 US 30 trades. I make 715 off the first one, and then 259 off that second one I just did right now before we're getting off. So hopefully you guys locked in those profits. Otherwise, if not, it's cool. We're going to catch some more profits tomorrow and later this afternoon. So I'll catch you guys later. And if you guys haven't already, on your way out, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. And I'll continue to keep coming on these live stream with you guys. So catch you guys tomorrow, or catch you guys later.